Internet.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Dales, where we're not actually in the Dales. We've travelled through the border forest and over into Anarok, the largest, most savage desert in the world. And from here, we have gotten a little bit of a taste of just how dangerous the terrain can be. We've lost a party member who was accused of murder, or rather, we as a group were accused of a murder that that we weren't even present for. Of all the alibis one could have, being gone is a pretty solid one. And we'd already departed the Bedine camp when the people found that their patriarch, the man who essentially owns everything, including the rest of the tribe, had been murdered. It wasn't taken well, and they pursued us through the desert, but we managed to escape their wrath. But neither did we give them an explanation as to our innocence or otherwise. We lost one of our party members not through that action, but rather when they departed to head back to try to reclaim the tribe for themselves in the absence of its leader in the power vacuum. They have attempted to return and take over, but we'll never know if they got far enough, because the last thing that happened to them was they triggered a dragon, a yellow dragon, a rare yellow dragon that lay underneath the sands. And that dragon, unbeknownst to even the character who survived the assault, consumed far too much poison after eating the backpack of the victim, and that poison caused an internal reaction with the dragon which killed it. But because it had buried itself within the sand by then, we may never know. In any case, these concerns are not really ours anymore. We are still here in Anarok, and because we lost the vast majority of our wealth to the incidents, we have decided to reclaim, or rather reconsolidate find some more treasure. In effect, we don't want to leave empty-handed. We know that the mines of Tethiamar are one of the last vestiges of the dwarven civilization of the same name, and we hope to enter into that realm, into that ancient ruin, and somehow make off with some of the wealth that lies within. But there's a serious challenge to doing so, because we are well aware that the Zentarum have established themselves within the mines of Tethiamar, and any attempt to plunder the wealth of the dwarves is likely going to have to go straight through their hands. Naturally, we are able to frame this in a positive light. If we are able to claim these treasures for ourselves and deny them to the evil forces of the Zentarum, then surely the world will be a better place, better in our hands than theirs. So that's a consideration that we are able, or a justification perhaps, that we are able to take advantage of. We're not there yet, though, and as we have well discovered, the paths in Anarok are particularly dangerous, but we're not far away either. We're really on the outskirts of Anarok right now. Anarok is a expanding desert created through a magical curse by some hideous alien race that defeated the Empire of Netheril, the greatest magicians that ever lived. Anarok keeps expanding every year, further and further and further. And right now it's encroaching upon the border forest and upon the desert mouth mountains, and the terrain that we are entering into is like a choked wasteland. The soil's life is being sapped away. Everything down to the microbes within the sand is being converted to a lifeless, dusty mass. The trees here, some of them are old and ancient, but they are also dead. With no life and no water to support them, they stand like ghostly sentinels, like skeletons that scatter across the landscape. A real an invitation to tinder. A single fire might spark an incredible conflagration here as the trees which have died but not yet fallen serve as so many matchsticks in our path. So this is a consideration that we will want to keep in the back of our minds, since even a wanton campfire out here in these encroaching sands could spark something terrifying and terrible. But we know where we're going, and that's good. I think that we probably left it just we'd fled in the dawn light, and we kept going and going and going. And because we were largely unrested, we probably collapsed in the midday sun, and just trying to get as much rest in as we can before likely heading out late in the afternoon or perhaps early in the evening. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
While we're taking a moment to stop, can I find I don't know, like a beetle or some birds or something to relay a message back to the druids?
Yeah, sure.
Basically, I just want to tell them that the temple that I forget his name now, the patriarch was from, was also destroyed, and whatever happened with the shadows.
Yeah, the Shattered Spire. Yeah.
Yeah.
No problems.
Let Honeywell know.
Excellent. And it's a sending spell, so they can reply. Correct?
No, it's just sending a message with the bird.
Oh, sending a message with the bird. Yep, sure. And so it carries on the wind, and that bird is gone. And assuming that it doesn't die in the process, then that message will eventually be delivered over the course of time. All right. Okay, well, let's start this then, Sirloin, with a D30.
D30.
Okay.
Glad I didn't roll another 2.
Yeah. A dragon to be hunting us.
Dragon's brother. Who knows?
Alright. A sandstorm blows up in the afternoon. It begins with some gusts of wind that spread sand all over the camp, and it just gets progressively worse and worse and worse. Is there anything that we're able to do about that, or do we simply have to endure it? Do we even have... We've lost our tents. We left them behind, I'm pretty sure. Do we even have any protection at all against this natural phenomenon?
See.
I guess not, because I'm just looking for my inventory.
Hmm.
Doesn't seem like it, apart from just whatever the environment offers.
It offers nothing at all. And even if there were some dunes or something that might protect us, those dunes are going to be destroyed by the shifting sand, and new dunes will be created. This is not good at all. We are likely to not just lose any rest that we might have. That will be the least of our problems. We could have the very flesh stripped from our skin. The sands of Ranarok are like glass, and when the gusts of wind pick them up, you could potentially, be ripped to pieces. They kill.
What to do? Do we still... Let's see. What do we still have? We have my horse. Do we have the cart still? Or the sled or whatever it is?
think that got ate by the dragon.
Okay.
I don't remember what all we lost to the dragon.
We lost. I guess we lost the cart / sled and all
Makes
of
sense.
our normal horses. As far as I know, we don't have a tent or anything like that.
Kind of a stretch, but can I use plant growth to try to regrow some of the trees and dead vegetation on the ground?
There's probably the dead vegetation. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that might help. Yeah, I guess so. There might be cacti and spinifex grasses and other things that have survived. Yeah, all right. So plant growth proves to be a poor substitute for any real shelter, but it might just help. So everyone can make I guess a Constitution saving throw to see if you can endure this onslaught, and you'll have advantage thanks to the plant growth.
The summon mount that I have, let me check. I'm not sure whether it has a will of its own or whether it would. Basically, I'm wondering whether it would follow a somewhat dangerous / suicidal order. And basically, what I wanted to do is I want to have it lay down like it's a big rock and use it for shelter. Because
Yeah,
it is a summoned creature after all, so if it dies, it can be resummoned.
sure. And what sort of creature were you summoning?
It was a warhorse. So
A warhorse, right?
fairly
Yeah.
large.
Yeah, exactly. That's fairly large. Yeah. The trouble with the sands is that they don't come from one direction. They spin around and swirl. They come mostly from one direction, but it's constantly changing. Still, it will be useful. And between the plants and the barrier provided by the warhorse, it might make the difference.
Oof.
You have advantage on the roll.
I'll roll it again. Better.
And the horse does the trick. Poor Flightless, however, he does also has advantage, so he's fine. All right.
I know. Thank goodness for that advantage.
Indeed. Are you available, Grimes? Might be distracted by something. Can't have passed out yet. Only been here for 20 minutes.
Surely not already.
All right. And so the sandstorm seems relentless, and we buckle down here. We buckle down here, and we get in what rest we can. It's not a long rest, but a short rest, and that's about the best that we can do. Do we just want to basically stay here as long as possible and just keep trying to rest, or are we going to head out into the sandstorm and hope to find our way out of this forsaken desert?
Well, if the sandstorm is as thick as it is, we'd have to just pick a direction and start walking, and for all we know, we'd be walking deeper into the desert.
And the thing when you're walking when you can't see is like you don't walk in a straight line. Like if you're not careful,
we
you'll
just
walk
walk.
in a circle.
True, we could just waste our energy trying to move during the sandstorm. I think the odds of coming across something beneficial to us is very slim.
Yes, can I try? How long do these sandstorms tend to last?
Yeah, good question. We don't have an Anarok expert, do we? Or someone familiar with the desert? No.
In fact, probably the concept of a storm is probably wild to Flightless.
Yeah.
On the Plain of Horses or whatever, wasn't that a desert I had to cross to get over here?
You would have crossed some parts of it. Would have been desert, absolutely. So yeah, you might have some inkling. So you won't be at disadvantage on your nature check like everyone else would be.
Why is nature an intelligence check?
Because it's a knowledge skill.
I know, but druids should have nature proficiency. Oh well.
and give it a shot.
Hmm.
I thought it was an
No.
option for them.
Well, they can get it, yeah. Just it's not something that gets a natural plus.
Yeah,
So you
people
throw
tend
it
to
at Druid.
dump stat intelligence, but yeah, that's like it is an academic skill, same as religion. Like someone who has an academic understanding of the natural world is going to know the science behind it, whereas someone who has lived in the natural world, using wisdom as their stat and survival as their skill, is going to be better at living in the environment rather than having an academic perspective. That's the way I see it, at least.
So I propose
Or
the
yeah,
best option, as terrible as it is to just try and wait it out.
Hmm.
I'll take what little precautions I can, using the horse as a sort of barrier somewhat, and also the long, like, thick woolen cloak that I bought. I'll pull up the hood and try to cover my face and eyes with it so that the sand doesn't get in my nose and in my eyes and in my ears and whatnot.
yeah.
I suppose
If it's seeming like, oh, go ahead.
depending on like what types of like plants like sprung up, would it be possible to like get some like the larger leaves and just create like sort of makeshift shelter with it? Since we've got time, we might as well try to do that. I mean, like we said, we
Yeah,
don't know
I
how long
guess
this is
so.
gonna last.
Don't know how long it's going to last, and you've got plenty of structure from the dead trees. The dead tree trunks will provide a kind of a skeleton for your tents or whatever it is that you plan to construct. So the simple fact is, it's not going to be very effective. But you don't have many options anyway, so it's worth a try. And I guess you can now make a survival check to see if you're able to do something adequately. But this will be a disadvantage because the conditions are truly awful.
Can I assist by using up my bedroll to create a sort of like if they make a sort of like a frame out of wood, might be able to use the bedroll to block out the sand. Some kind of a primitive barrier.
Yeah, but it won't. But it won't actually help with the role. The conditions are still just so bad that what assistance it brings is not exactly futile, but it's not. Yeah, not futile, but just not that useful either.
So 13's
Fair enough.
pretty good then.
Yeah, that's not bad.
13's pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 13's pretty good. So it's adequate, and you get the task done, and are able to at least get your long rest in. But you get a long rest in, and so sometime during the night, it might be midnight or it might be several hours on either side. It's very disorientating with both direction and with time. All that you know is that it's the middle of the night, and the sandstorm just keeps going and going and going. It rises, it falls, it rises, it falls, but it's somewhat relentless all the same. And when the dawn light finally comes, the sandstorm has not yet abated. It feels like we could be here forever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess
It's
it's
probably lessened in intensity, but yeah, it's showing no signs of stopping.
I suppose
Uh,
like if you'll
during
make the
the
sound
night-
that Dalavash did when you cast like the create water spell and gesture at the other like spellcasters in the party.
Yeah, I'd cast that again. But during the night, was I able to see the stars at all?
Very occasionally. So, what sort of check are you hoping to make?
Figure out which way to get out of the desert.
Excellent. You can have a disadvantage on your survival check. DC's not too high since you're only picking a direction, but the conditions are awful. 12's not too bad. Yeah, between the rising sun and the stars, you're pretty confident that you're able to pick the direction of east, and most of the party seems to agree with you. They might remember which dead trees were in which direction prior to setting up the camp, and you're pretty confident that you know the direction of east or southeast, which is where the Zentarums, where the ruins of Tethiamar are. Once you start traveling, however, the disorientation could rise again. But it's either remain here in the sandstorm as the heat gets more intense, or walk through the sandstorm as the heat gets more intense. Neither are attractive options, but we have to do one or the other, I suppose.
Yeah. I'll start pulling out my rope and handing the ends to the other people, so at least we won't get separated from each other.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll take the rope. Also, I'm gonna roll a con check for my horse because it was outside the shelter the whole time, probably at disadvantage because it wouldn't be able to fit in. See if the horse suffered any adverse effect from the sandstorm.
Excellent.
So 15 is the lowest it got.
Brilliant. That's not too bad. So where we're heading out, are we? I missed that.
I believe so.
Excellent. And Tethiamar or the border forest, or are we looking for the edge of the Desert Mouth Mountains?
I'd say more towards Tethiamar, but maybe the north side of it, just trying to get out of the desert itself.
Excellent, excellent.
I'd say we goes mostly east, a little bit of south, but mostly east. And if we can hit the trees, that'll offer us a little bit of protection, and hopefully the sandstorm won't be as severe on the edge of
Or
the
if we
border
get
forest.
the mountains, I'd also get rid of one direction of sand.
Yeah. We'll have some sort of shelter that's better than some rickety sticks and a bedroll.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Okay. The sandstorm's intensity doesn't continue forever, and we start to, as we trail our way through these dead sea of sticks, this near endless amount of dead and dying wood. We stumble across something that seems green. It's hard for it to be a mirage in this kind of weather. Mirages tend to rise when the heat is so intense. But in a sandstorm like this, the effect of a mirage tends to be stripped away by the motion of the wind and the constant churning of the sand. So when we see green leaves up ahead, it probably fills some of us with a sense of hope. Do we dare to head towards this vestige of green that's only a few hundred feet away that we've practically walked into?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, we don't have any better options.
All right. So you can enter in from the northwest side of this, and you'll note the dead trees scattered around, and also, but there is a fairly large pool of water that is that features actual greenery, mostly date palms and other hardy spinifex style grasses. It appears to be an oasis. It's not the first oasis we've come across, but it's not one that we've seen before. The trees here are very tall, very large. The cacti are enormous. The grass is tall and thick, but it exclusively clings to the edge of the oasis. Everything here appears to be on an enormous scale. The sandstorm has died down in intensity enough now that we're able to see more than just a few feet in front of us. We've got a vision of more than 100 feet at the moment, and we'll notice that some absolutely enormous vultures, like condors, take off from the trees and take to wing as if disturbed by our arrival.
I'll run right to the water.
All right, roll for initiative. As you run towards the water, the sand begins to stir, and it's difficult to detect at first because the sandstorm is still persisting, and thus the sands are constantly shifting. But as the sand begins to rise and fall, in a way that's reminiscent of that crocodile, the sand crocodile that we encountered a few days ago, your instincts kick in. And
I don't think our instincts kicked in.
Maybe they didn't. Okay, cool. I forgot to reset the initiative first, but it doesn't matter.
That's our initiatives.
Yeah, that's what we rolled.
I rolled the
Yeah.
highest, and I scored 4.
You rolled a 2. Good job.
It makes sense there, I guess. It's like battered and by the sandstorm.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Also,
I
I
wonder
swear-
where it is.
History repeats itself. That you walk up to the waterfront and lose another character.
Eh.
Huh. You might do.
Oh no, it's one of those.
An enormous scorpion, or positively enormous, pops out of the sands and tries to grab its target with its claws.
Mm-hmm.
They'll hit.
Yeah,
They're at advantage. Yep, cool. And drive its stinger into her heart.
that also hits.
Oh, really?
God.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Christ.
So you're grappled. 14 points of damage initially. Another 11 is 25, and another 9 is 34. You're grabbed by these enormous claws. The scorpion is bigger than a horse when the tail is considered, and it's got armored plating that is as thick as sheets of steel. It grabs its target and lashes out at her. And for a moment there, Flightless, you think that she might already be dead. What do you do?
It's time to shoot an arrow. Will my aim be impeded by the storm?
It will. Not so much. Yeah, that's your arrow will be blown off course by the strong winds. Disadvantage.
I suppose I'll take aim action.
That's a good idea.
And are we still doing the no sneak attack if you have disadvantage?
No, I've since found out that wasn't an incorrect ruling, and as long as they cancel each other out, then yeah, you're able to use your sneak attack. Yeah, I found that I was wrong. 16 is going to be enough. The thick plates of armor have gaps in between them, in between the segments of armor, and you find one of them.
21 points of damage. That's pretty good.
It's not bad, and it causes the scorpion great sense of agitation. But it's got its prey now, and all it needs to do is drag her underneath the sands, and she'll be gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
With how much damage it is, she will be gone forever.
Yeah.
We'll be gone forever.
I shan't lose another party member.
Water was the one thing we had. Why did we?
Huh. We didn't need this. Yeah.
I'll move up my horsey and start laying into this thing. So let's see, normal attack. 21.
Excellent.
11. I'm going to smite on that as well. Make
All
it
right.
level 2. For 25 damage.
Okay, so total of 25. The scorpion its carapace is split open, and it begins leaking out a goo that is similar to the sort of insect goo that you might get when you kill a cockroach. Yeah, but it's not. But it doesn't release its grip upon its victim.
I'll spin it over my head and bring it around for a second strike, which is not going to hit. And then I go around again for the to poke with the end of it, which is not going to hit either. Damn it. Well, I did as much as I could.
Mhm.
All right, Chaka, your life depends upon this.
Yeah, I think the best bet is cast Shillelagh and give it a good whack with Green Flame Blade.
All right. Crunch! You barely break through its shell, but break through you do.
13 damage?
13 damage is going to be enough to split it open. You crack it like the aforementioned cockroach being stomped upon, and as its fluids begin to leak out and bake in the sun, the sandstorm unabating rips into its flesh and fills the gaps that we've made with our weapon. The creature is dead. But no sooner has it died when more pop out of the sand.
Uh-oh.
Sensing us more through the tremors in the earth than any kind of other instinct, they then rush towards us.
Oh, would I be free from the grapple?
Absolutely.
Alright.
As this
I can-
one enters my reach, I'm going to use my reaction to take an attack of opportunity against it.
Cool. And Chaka, you were going to move, were you?
No. Because I would only move after none of the other guys were there, so.
Yeah, fair enough.
For 11 slashing. And I'll smite
All
it
right.
as well
Okie dokie. Gotta finish these things off before it's too late.
for 23 damage. Not bad for a reaction.
Not bad indeed, but not enough to truly hurt this thing. You crack open its shell, but all that does is make it angrier. Scorpions have a real killer instinct. They are the bantam hens of the arthropod world, and once you start picking a fight with them, they tend not to have much sense of self-preservation and want only to get revenge.
We could really use a Grimes and an Artisan right now.
That'd be pretty handy. Flightless.
Okay, he's going to draw from the power of the hunting bow to split the arrow into a magic missile. You'll send them 3 of them towards this one here. 10 points of damage.
Excellent. You're able to strike it give it a pretty severe injury, and that distracts it. It looks over at Flightless and is not sure who to get its revenge upon anymore.
As a bonus action, because I'm going to use a perception check to try to spot any more hidden scorpions in the area.
Okay. So you look around, and mercifully, there doesn't seem to be any more, but the shifting sands could easily be disguising them.
At least for the moment, I'm a bit cut. The only enemies are the ones we see.
Cool. All right. Lady Eleanor.
Axe against this closest scorpion.
Another great strike. Lucky, but you're finding the weaknesses.
Smite on that as well. 18. We're only a 3-man party, so I feel like we have to pull out all the stops here.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. And you've left the Scorpion absolutely crippled. It's probably brain dead at this point, effectively truly dead, but it's still snapping its pincers. It's still striking with its tail. Whether the creature is alive or not, its nerves are still attacking, and that makes it just as threatening as it was while it was fully conscious.
Right, another attack. That's not going to hit. And then the bonus action attack for 6. And just to be safe, I guess I don't think you can wait to see whether it kills it before you smite or not. So just to be safe, I will smite on that as well for 18.
All right, yeah, you absolutely destroy it this time. Yeah, it's obliterated and split into multiple pieces.
And then I'll use my movement to get between Chaka and the Scorpion and prepare to receive its charge.
That is the duty of a knight, after all. Chaka, you're far from cowardly, but no doubt you feel some sense of relief as Eleanor shields you from the imminent doom.
Well, knowing that these are desert creatures and insects, they probably don't love water, so I'm diving in.
Excellent choice, maybe, unless there's a crocodile in there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna take that risk, aren't we?
As the steam's boiling off of my arm, I'm gonna cast Tidal Wave.
Okay, cool.
Direction that way.
Oh, good call. Nice move. Dexterity save.
Jeez, is that really 48?
Lots of ones, I think.
Yeah, 48.
Yeah.
That's only 8 damage.
Wow.
Nice.
That's a great third level spell there, guys.
And the green flame blades are irrelevant, right? Like that's just an yeah.
I forgot to take that off.
Cool. And it's swept away and off its feet, and it starts writhing around on the ground like a turtle on its back. But water does very little in the way of injury. Its armored plates absorb the blow. It disorientates it though, and causes it to be slow enough that by the time it rights itself, all it can do is run in and probably be impaled upon Eleanor's reactionary strike.
Yeah, or I could miss, but I'll take it. Alrighty.
All right, and you do indeed miss. But flightless, the tidal wave has bought us enough time that we might be able to severely injure or even kill it before its stinger comes down to bear.
Yeah, I think that with the tidal wave that I gave it, that probably would have given enough time to line up another shot. So that's
yes, exactly.
Steady aim, another arrow.
Yeah. Great strike.
Good stealth damage.
Yeah.
That's 20 points damage.
Yeah, and the scorpion is agitated greatly, but its focus now on Eleanor and its desire for revenge is tantamount.
Alright, well, let's see whether I can prevent it from getting an attempt. So, first attack, I'll level 2 Divine Smite on that one.
Spell slots do you have?
I'm using all of them pretty much. So that's 19. I have one
Okay.
first level slot left.
The creature is absolutely crippled and is beginning to regret its enthusiasm, but that's what scorpions do.
I don't think that's going to hit.
Wait,
It will
Scorpion's
not.
regret?
Yeah, not much, but every creature does have a survival instinct, and this one's currently flashing red.
Second attack misses. The third attack is 13 damage with another divine smite.
And you chew all of your divine power. Every ounce of magical energy that your god has gifted with you is consumed through this defensive maneuver. But when you look around and you see the sand shifting and rising and falling, you can breathe a sigh of relief that that's nothing but a sandstorm.
And just a halberd just dripping with scorpion innards.
If like he'll just, I guess he'll slowly wander between them, like staying alert but gathering his arrows again.
Very good.
Chaka's
yeah.
just treading water, just sitting in the.
This pool is incredibly revitalizing. Perhaps it's the fact that you're parched. Perhaps it's the fact that your heart is beating at 150 beats a minute. Maybe it's just a cool relief where the sand is no longer stripping your skin away while the sun roasts it. But this water is deeply soothing. As relaxing as anything you've ever known.
Are there any like large rocks along the edge?
Yeah, there are.
Chara will kind of swim over to that and start stripping off her armor and just relaxing in the water.
Brilliant.
Is this the
Come
beach
in, guys.
episode?
Yep, water's great.
We're gonna continue to stand guard for now. Who knows what else might emerge from the sands.
Indeed. The condors are flying overhead, vultures, whatever you want to call them. But they're not enjoying the sandstorm, and so they're trying to get as high as they can, since the blistering sand will not rip their feathers out as badly as if they are down low by the dunes.
Sort of like he'll like sort of try to get like Chaka's attention and sort of gesture at the stingers. They'll like point at the tips of one of his arrows.
Yeah, I'll kind of wave him off and later.
I will go ahead and fill my water skin from this water zone for Sippy.
No worries. So you fill your water skin and consume it?
Yeah,
Take
another
I'll
drink.
try to stop before she drinks, and then I'll do give the reminder. That we play the conversation that the last one, poison to kill reptiles.
Okay.
So,
I guess
because we don't know what if this one's good or not.
I guess I put it to my lips when you just point that out, and I'm like, yeah, probably a good idea.
He'll gesture that he like if you want, he'll like drink water first.
No, I wouldn't ask you to do that. I'll take a small sip just to see whether it burns the tongue or irritates the throat.
On the contrary, your parched lips feel soothed. Your throat, the dry throat, feels like it's got a salve, and it's as refreshing as any drink you've ever taken in your life.
I'll let the flightless know that it's quite the contrary. It's quite refreshing, actually, more so than any water I've sampled before.
I guess with the approval, he'll like restock his stuff as well then and have a drink.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell whether there's something particularly special about this water, or if it's just the damn conditions that you've been enduring, because they have been truly horrendous. Um, Sand that's as sharp as glass, stripping away, getting into your eyes and into your nose, causing you to cough. And when you do cough, obviously, you inhale during coughs, and that just makes things worse. Ripping your throat with little shreds of tiny bits of sand and even plant matter and anything else. But this water just feels like it goes down the way a beer might after a hot day of working in the coal mines. It's that hard-earned thirst that you only earn through the hardest of labours.
So go ahead and drink my fill then. I earned it after we slaughtered 3 scorpions.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
You
it's
guys should
flightless.
really come in here.
Yeah, he'll like wipe himself down, but he's far too paranoid to take his armor off at this point.
Mm.
I have a similar.
Yeah, like even if there's like a
similar
negative, like
sentence.
there's no way he's taking his armor off. Like,
Yeah, it's going to take me 10 minutes to put it back on. So if we get attacked while we're having a little pool party, that would be unfortunate.
You begin to feel an ache and a pain. Flightless and Eleanor. Curiously, Chaka, you might not feel the same pain. What sort of... You're wearing armor as well, Chaka?
I was wearing hide, but I took it off.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. And Chaka and Eleanor, you feel a tightness, a pain, not really within your bones, but kind of within your muscles, and particularly within your skin. That sensitivity that one might get from having bad sunburn, and then your clothes grating against that overly sensitive skin. You feel hurt, stretched. Cramped and just a little bit like a tightness around your shoulders, around your chest, around your thighs that is the same as wearing clothes that are too small for you. And Eleanor, you will notice that your horse is looking at you wide-eyed and incredulously.
Huh.
Is there anything visible on us?
Maybe make a perception check.
Okay.
Yeah, out of concern, I'm going to go ahead and
look at something
Cast.
reflective.
cast Lay on Hands on myself. 5 points to cure any disease or poison that I'm suffering from.
It doesn't ease the pain, not at all. Even the symptoms of the pain aren't eased. The way a sunburn might be. Sharky, you don't notice anything immediately. Are you looking for anything in particular?
No, just like red marks on my skin or anything.
No red marks on your skin, no irritations, no agitations. On the contrary, if you've had any bruises, then those bruises might be losing the intensity of their black and blue. You do notice that your fingernails and your toenails are a little bit long. How long's it been since you trimmed them?
Oh, she's a prolific nail biter, so probably yesterday.
Right. Well, they've grown back awfully fast.
Huh.
Bizarre.
Is my hair any longer?
Your hair is also longer and thicker.
How's Flightless's feathers looking?
Flightless's feathers are longer. His beak is longer, but you don't really have a perspective until you see him beside your horse. And your horse seems smaller somehow.
Well, we've gotten bigger.
How much taller have we gotten?
You have gotten 10% taller, and your mass has increased by 25%.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a fair bit. If you were 6 foot before, well, I mean, it's not a perfect translation, but you'd be 6'6". That's not 10%, but
I actually have my height
6'5", something.
my exact weight written down, so I can figure this out.
Yeah, probably do it in inches, unless you since since the metric system is not base 10. Yeah.
1 times.
Five eight, so about 70 inches tall.
I am legitimately special. I did 10% of 63 in my calculator. And I'm sat there looking at the number like, could I really not have thought of that by mistake?
$25% heavier?
25% heavier. Your muscle mass grows.
Jeez, I gained 30 pounds.
What have I done? You also gain 2d4 permanent hit points as you bulk up, strengthen up, and just become more durable, all in all.
Nice. Oh, I think there's something wrong with the water, guys.
Yes, it's having an odd effect.
Yeah, but Flightless is now 69 inches tall.
Nice.
That's
Jeez, the bird's taller than me.
a
How
pretty
many
big
inches
bird.
tall?
I'm 67 now.
So that's what, 5'7", I think.
5'5".
5'5", right? Yeah, 5. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm 77 inches now.
that's
You're a
huge.
big girl.
It's
Yeah,
enormous.
Very
6'7",
tall.
6'5".
Yeah, that's taller than me.
Let's see, 77 inches to feet.
72 inches is 6 feet, so it'll be 6'5", which is an enormous woman, like enormous. It's a pretty damn big man, but
Yeah,
it's
so
an
she
enormous.
went from 5'8" to 6'4", almost 5'ish.
Yeah.
And so you can understand why your armor no longer fits.
Yeah, I guess I feel it squeezing. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and he weighs 115 pounds now.
Still pretty light, but you are a bird. Hollow bones and all.
Mhm.
And 25% mass.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Nice. I wonder if that'll ever make a difference, like at all. If you'll ever be reduced to 3 hit points instead of 1 or whatever. Yeah.
Hey, I've doubled my hit points I currently have.
Nice.
What? Damn.
Not my total, just my...
I was
Yeah.
going to say.
Well-
168 pounds now, I weigh.
Yeah, that's the same as me.
Nice.
I'm just a foot shorter than you.
Around, and you can see the worms that might be in the water. Little tiny worms aren't tiny at all. They're quite substantial, and the spinifex grass is thick and healthy and vibrant. The palms are towering, and of course the scorpions weren't small either.
I was about to mention that was probably a hint to what the water did,
Yeah.
but like because we just went, giant scorpions, that's
Giants.
normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess the vultures.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, we just missed everything.
Well,
I knew there's something up with the water. I just...
I'll pour out the rest of my water skin, because as nice as it was to gain a little bit of height, I'd rather not eventually become like 8 foot tall or something like that.
I drink the whole pod.
Brilliant.
I get any bigger than this, I might burst my chainmail.
Uh-huh.
Dude.
I think you'd burst before the chainmail did.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, probably. Flesh has that property.
Flightless will keep it, but he won't drink it like normal water. He'll just have it around so we can learn more about it later.
Put it
Yeah,
in
that's a good
different
point,
form.
actually. I'll collect a water skin for a just in case kind of purpose. And let's see, what do I have? Do you have any like writing tools or anything I could sort of carve something into the like rim of the mouthpiece with?
Oh, forgery kit.
Yeah, something like that. It's just to identify the water skin and make sure I don't drink it later by accident.
If Flightless will do the same.
Emergency use only.
Yeah.
Big water.
And I suppose on the trees he'll do thieves. What is it? You know, put a warning on the trees like caution. On the
So you put just caution?
it's the side
I'll,
for like caution, or maybe like caution like about the water.
Yeah.
I'll leave a message in Druidic. Kind of more detailed explanation. What's going on?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
doubt
That's
like thieves' cant has like the ability to drink this water only like in emergent like extreme circumstances. Also, it's thieves can because I'm positive.
yeah. These can. I'm Genghis Khan, not Genghis Khan.
And when he's done, he'll be Genghis did.
Yes. All right. The sandstorm doesn't really abate. Maybe it dims in intensity a little bit, but it seems like it's just going to keep going forever.
Well, since we're here and we have big palms and whatnot, probably be a good place to set up a more permanent camp.
Yeah, the big palm leaves, if we manage to get them off the trees, would be pretty decent at blocking out wind and sand, I'd imagine.
Yeah, they're thick and strong, yeah. As well as large.
How heavy are they? Are they pretty light?
Oh, yeah, they're still pretty light. Like, think of them as cardboard rather than paper. You know, they're still, like, none of them weigh a pound.
They're just awkward.
Yeah, and rubbery.
Yeah, I'll climb the trees and start breaking off branches.
Excellent, excellent. You're probably not surprised to find the branches are thick and durable and hardy, but you are able to get them off. We might have a hand axe, or we might not, but whatever. I'm sure that we have a tool suitable for cutting them if we need to. There are a lot of dates in these trees. Not surprisingly, the dates are large and filled with juice. You want to gather some food while you're here?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to take a chance on it after the water.
Yeah, I'd grab the food.
No worries. You can have 2d4 rations.
Nice. Oh, and I'm gonna fill Ben's good pail with water.
Ah, excellent. Might be a little bit hard to prevent evaporation, but we'll find a way to keep it in there.
I got a plan. I need to find my bear.
Ah,
Imagine how much this would sell for, like out of character, if you were to bottle this and sell it to adventurers.
absolutely.
Gain a
2d4
foot of height
permanent.
and 2d4 temp HP. Permanent HP. I'm also glad that when I first made this character, I was thinking about whether I should make her like a 6 foot or a 6'1" woman or make her kind of imposing. I'm glad I didn't, because she'd be bordering 7 foot by now.
Be a Goliath.
Alrighty. I guess now we've got a better place to wait out the storm. That's
Yep.
what we'll do. If it takes another day of waiting, I think that's fine.
All right. Sounds good. Carrick, a D30, please.
28.
Pretty high. All right. Okay. The sandstorm does start to abate. Do we head off like as soon as it does start to lessen, or are we fairly happy where we are now? And we after getting a long rest, do we want to? So you get your long rest in. Do you want to head off nearly immediately once you're feeling revitalized and the sandstorm is lessened, or is there a particular time of day that you'd like to wait for, or anything else?
I'd say wait till we can see the sky.
Hmm.
But I'd say dawn or like dusk, because we don't. I mean, we don't want to be walking in like daylight, like looking to the sun.
All right. Yeah, cool. All right. So we wait during the intensity of the day until the sun starts to set, and during those last couple of hours, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., that sort of era, you spot some people approaching our oasis. Evidently, we spot them before they spot us. There's only a group of 3 of them, and they distance is a little bit hard to gauge, or rather, details are hard to gauge over the distance, not just through the sandstorm, but also the intensity of the heat. The heat waves cause that mirage effect even during a sandstorm. You can make either some insight checks or some perception checks to find out some details about these 3 individuals.
Go for an insight.
Brilliant.
Oh.
Not so great. All right. So, Flightless, you make out some pretty significant details, and Chaka is able to confirm them and add to them. They appear to be at first children, but then it becomes apparent that they are fully grown people, if stunty, if runtish. Then they sort of appear to be dwarves, but they're small for dwarves, and they're certainly nowhere near as stocky as dwarves normally are. Perhaps they're oversized gnomes, but again, they don't really fit the proportion for gnomes either. Whoever they are, they're dressed for the weather really well. They're wrapped up in some fairly primitive cloths that is reminiscent of the way the Badin dress, but the Badin have a certain amount of style to them. Their hajibs and their robes and their turbans, they're not designed to look elaborate or even attractive, but there's a practicality to them, a sensibility to them, which is a style all of its own. These individuals, these runts, are dressed more like in scraps and rags and bits of hide and bits of scales taken from lizards and whatever, that is not only mismatched, it's mongrelish. We can't hear what they're saying. We can't even hear their voices above the rise and fall of the sandstorm. They're a few hundred feet away when we notice them. It's inevitable that even if they don't see us, they're going to see the horse pretty soon.
Do any of
What do you
you?
think of them?
What do I think of them?
Do you guys think that they are hostile to us?
I'm not sure. Perhaps it's better not to find out.
Want to leave now?
That's what I would suggest. We have nothing to gain by interacting with them.
Fair.
It seems like they aren't lost. They seem very well equipped for this environment. Wouldn't surprise me if they're making their way here to sample the water.
We're just going to let them do that.
Well, I suppose.
Because maybe they know like the closest way out of the desert.
True. I assumed as locals they would know what this water did, but there's a possibility that they don't.
I don't know. They're quite tiny.
Another good point.
They're too small to know what the water does.
How many of them were there again?
3?
3, yeah.
3. 3 of us, 3 of them. I think we can take the risk and interact with them.
Because with their
What do you
clothing,
mean
I
3?
guess
There's 5 of us.
I guess their clothing doesn't match any of the Badine tartans I've seen.
No, are they about gnome size? Like they would be gnomes?
Really big gnomes, yeah.
Gnomes or dwarves or something like that.
Maybe gnomes that have been
I've
drinking the
never
water
seen
because like they're tall ones.
Maybe.
Maybe. I guess we can say hi. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a confrontation. We've had plenty of those.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go then. Hop up onto my horse.
Yep.
And as soon as you do, they notice you at last, and they give a squeal and run away.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, that makes it easy. Let's be off then.
I suppose I'll do the. Hey, lol, you mind introducing yourselves? As they run off.
They jump behind rocks and dead trees and whatever else they can find, and occasionally pop out and peek around and then hide themselves again, and pop out and peek around and hide themselves again the way a mouse might or a child.
I guess they don't respond to the call.
Not really. No more than a wild animal might.
Well, let's get off then. We've been here long enough.
Alright, let's get going.
I suppose on the dune, he'll like without speaking, he'll like signal for you to like to slow down. Can I stealth and like look over like the dune just before we, like disappear from view? Because I want to see if they're like them watching us leave will be enough for them to go about what they were doing.
Yeah, sure. Make an insight check, I guess. Yeah.
Nice.
Their curiosity is getting the better of them. They're afraid. They're very afraid. But they're so fascinated by who you are and who you might be that their instincts are being suppressed by their natural curiosity. Yeah, one of them haphazardly gives a wave.
So I'll wave back.
They all wave and then they hide again.
Adorable.
Because I guess I've got an idea, but I'm not sure. He'll light it down probably. Because maybe the water affects your mind if you drink too much of it.
Oh, it's
Maybe.
possible they could be going crazy. Or maybe they've just never seen outsiders before.
Suppose I'll try just Drow sign language. Thieves can't. Guess they don't
They
get any response.
they mimic your hands movements, and then they start making funny faces and giggling among themselves. You're not sure if they're mocking you or if they're just learning, but in any case, they're enjoying the process.
Suppose who look at Eleanor, like try to get across, like try using different languages.
I'll say just hello in Druidic, I guess. If that triggers anything.
They return the word in a somewhat Certainly not as well as Flightless would, but they play back what you said in their own high-pitched little voices, a little bit inaccurately, and then they giggle after doing it. And another one tries the same word, and the others giggle as well. They seem to enjoy the game.
Strange creatures they are.
Mhm.
At least they aren't hostile. Thankful for that.
Well, yet.
Yet, yes, I suppose. Well, they seem to mean us no harm, and I mean none to them.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Then I guess we get moving if we don't have it.
Let's be off.
When you move, they go up around you and behind you, not right behind you, but rather following your tracks. And they go up to your tracks, and they start like sifting through the sand, as if they're looking for something within the place that you've just been treading.
Strange. Scavengers, perhaps? I just quickly go through my items and make sure I have everything. I haven't left anything behind for them to pinch.
You seem to have everything. Yeah, it's sandy. Your pockets are full of sand.
Actually, I'll leave one of the flint shurikens in the sand, like I dropped it, to see how they react when they find it.
They absolutely love it. They find it and they pick it up and they start pushing it around, and one of them snatches it out of the hands of the other one and cuts themselves. And when he lets out a squeal, the other two laugh. But then when he starts crying, the other two start to console him and comfort him. But they take the shuriken all the same and wipe off the blood and put it away. They start comforting the one who hurt himself on the blade.
Seems about right. Seem to have this sort of playfulness you'd expect from Fae. We are on the edge of the border forest, so it makes sense.
It's just
Although
possible.
their garb would suggest that they're local to the desert, though.
Perhaps they've been kicked out of the forest for being too trickstery.
Certainly a possibility. Well, then let us be on our way.
They follow you for another 1,000 feet or so. Do you interact with them during that process?
Just
Well-
kind of keeping an eye on them.
I suppose if they do things like wave and gesture, he'll, like, I guess, reply to them.
They wave and gesture back. They dance on one foot and then the other. They it's all very playful.
I thought they'd be I thought they'd lose interest and go to the water by now, but
Maybe they don't see very many friendly creatures in the desert.
Well, we sure haven't.
Yeah. If our experience is anything to go by.
the one thing I'm curious about is, like, can they speak, or are they just mimicking? Like, how intelligent are they really?
You've got an excellent insight check, so we'll continue to use that. You hear snatches of words of Dwarven. When they got cut, they might have said the word for pain, and they might have reassured themselves with the Dwarven equivalent of there. But if it is Dwarven, then they're speaking gibberish and nonsense mixed in with it. The words that they're saying are somehow familiar, but you don't know any of them. Kind of like hearing German or Spanish when you don't actually know the language. There's something familiar about the strada, but you don't know what it means.
Because we're looking for the ancient Tedium, aren't we?
Yeah, we're headed that direction.
They could confirm like we're going the right way if we can get them closer. Because Chaka speaks Dwarven, doesn't she?
I'm not sure.
Think so?
Well, Artisan does, but he's sort of
Artisan does. He was the Dwarven speaker.
just kind of
No,
T-posing near a palm tree at the moment.
I speak Elvish. So I
I
picked
speak
up.
Celestial and Elven.
No, I also speak Elven. We also the Elven crew.
We can use the characters as NPCs if you wish. So, like, if there's something that you want Artisan to try to communicate in Dwarven, then it's possible.
So I guess because I've got a pretty green pebble, so I'll try to like draw them in, so he can ask them like directions or stuff about the local areas.
Sure. All right. Make a persuasion roll to tempt them with your rock candy. Brilliant. They love it.
They want my pretty green
They-
pebble.
They do. They're going to fight each other for it. And so they run straight up to you until they're about 10 feet away, and then they hold out their hand for it.
I guess I'll have Artisan ask him like about like where potentially the mines might be. Like see if we're going the right way first.
He tells you that their accent is thick and that their language doesn't make a lot of sense. But he's able to pick through it. Their bastardized tongue appears to be almost unintelligible, I guess, like baby language in that regard. But he does think that they know what the mine is, a quarry or a mine or a ruin, and they do seem to be very confident they know how to get there. However, he thinks that they're telling them not to go that way, but rather to come back to them, with them.
That they want to take us somewhere else, or that they want to take us to the mines themselves.
Precisely. They know how to get to the mines, but they think that you should go this way instead.
Guess I'll have Artisan explain that to Eleanor. I suppose we'll do it with conversing in sign language.
Yeah. I guess I'll ask, are they trying to take us somewhere like unrelated to the mines, or are they trying to show us like a different way in?
They want to take you home.
Home.
Oh.
Hmm. I see. Or define home.
We need food anyway.
We got some fruit. Got a couple days.
Suppose the worst thing that can happen is they take us somewhere we don't want. We can just leave.
Maybe we could just murder them. Yeah. Worst that could happen.
I'd ask that they define home. Like, what is home, and where is it?
They tell you where family is. They tell you it's safe.
Well, they
Lightless is
seem,
interested by where family is.
yeah, they seem. I wouldn't say trustworthy, but they seem okay so far.
They don't seem dangerous.
No, they're three little humanoids compared to the three giant scorpions we fought the other day. I guess we can entertain a little detour.
And I suppose he will hand off the pretty green pebble to the closest one.
Sure, I love it. I love it. Yeah, they're really excited.
Well, we're following them. I
Pose says.
guess.
If they lead us to some sort of tunnel into the ground or a cave in the mountains, though, I may have to reconsider.
You don't want to go back underground?
Not after what we witnessed down there last time. At least not until we're sure that we're ready.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can go, if they think the path is safe, it probably is.
True, these three do seem rather defenseless, for lack of a better word.
I suppose we'll head off with them. I suppose can I try to use one of the big leaves, like one of the big ferns, as like an umbrella?
Absolutely, absolutely. They love your fern, and they want one for themselves.
You know, like tuck like the stalk into like behind on the belt and tie like a piece of string to like the top and to sort of hold it, so like it arcs over your head.
Perfect. Perfect.
Inspired by the idea, I'll get a bunch of palm leaves and sort of impale them on the spike of my halberd to make a sort of makeshift parasol of my own. Anything to block out the sun.
Taco
Great.
put up over her head more. Like, you guys are weird.
They are so jealous of your parasols. Like, where's theirs?
Because I'll set them out with the all smaller ones.
Fantastic! They absolutely adore them. They twirl them, and they spin, and they jump, and they dance, and they love them. They love them to no end.
Just the
Making
wind
friends
come
with
by and just
the
send them
little
flying
creatures.
away.
Yeah, instead of flying away. Whoa! And let's do that again. Yeah, absolutely adore it. Absolutely adore it. They take you to an area filled with stones that bear quite clear insignias of runes. Like it looks like the sigils and symbols you find in a wizard's spell book, that sort of thing. The stones are arranged in a very rough circle, very rough. And it looks like they have a camp in the middle of this huge circle that's probably some 300 feet in diameter. It's pretty big. And again, it's far from a complete circle, but you can kind of imagine the very loose circular image. So anyway, there's a bunch of these individuals here, and none of them are any bigger than these ones, and some of them are considerably smaller, probably children, real children, as opposed to whatever these creatures are. None of them are 4 feet tall. None of them. And some of them are barely reach 3 feet. But anyway, when they see that the others are bringing you back, there's a mixture of curiosity and fear, excitement and terror, which was not dissimilar to the attitudes that that they displayed when we first saw them.
I don't know much about magic, but this ring of scribed stones probably offers them some protection. It would explain how they're able to survive out here.
Does it react as we approach, like the circle?
It does, because Sir Eleanor doesn't approach when we approach the circle. No, there's no obvious sign while we're approaching. No, so that was a misnomer.
What about
A
when
mistake.
we start crossing into the circle?
That's when it happens. And when I say it, Eleanor suddenly falls to the ground, pop, as her horse disappears.
I'm just stunned for a moment, and then I realize, I think anyone who knows anything about magic knows what just happened.
Flightless doesn't know anything about magic.
Yeah.
I have just an inkling of spellcasting, but that's about it. Guess I'll make an Arcana check to know what just happened, if I may.
Go ahead. You can have advantage since it's a hard lesson to learn.
15.
Yeah, it's a dead magic zone.
Ah.
Okay. What happens to Chaka when she walks in?
Oh, I didn't want to ask to give away the idea, but do you have any magical effects?
The blue flames.
Oh, yes, yes. Your tattoos are suppressed. Yeah. Yeah, you can still see the scars, but they're no longer a flame. They no longer itch. It's more of a memory than an active effect.
Okay, and if I stick my hand back out.
They flare.
Okay.
Okay, so
Huh.
that I was gonna say Flightless would hold back because he might think it because he knows nothing about magic, so he's worried it might damage like the magic bow he has.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing it flare back up, like he's still not too happy with it.
Oh.
Well, I guess I'll pick myself up out of the sand and dust myself off. Well, that was unexpected.
I guess the creatures found it amusing there.
Yeah, I'm sure it was very amusing.
That is quite curious. You have an interesting home.
And you say that in the common tongue?
Yeah.
They mock you with your tone, and most of them giggle at the mockery. The one who did the mocking thinks that he's probably going to get popular from this, so he says it again, but this time dancing from one foot to the other, and he gets many laughs and giggles. He casts a glance at one of the women, one of the females, and she blushes, and that just causes him to get even more excited before he suddenly gets teased in Dwarven, and he stops doing it.
Wait, they just repeat the same bad jokes and people laugh more. It's like, what? They sound like my people.
You love!
Well, then I guess we'll ask the three that brought us here if there's anyone they wanted us to speak to or to meet.
Not really. There doesn't seem to be anyone in charge or anything. Some are probably older than the others, and it's a fairly common cultural trait for elders to be respected for their wisdom and experience and so on. But it doesn't appear that anyone has more authority than the other. Even the children seem to be as free as any of the adults. What they do have an interest in is your stuff. Now's when they start getting bold enough to reach out and touch your scabbards and grab your cloaks and attempt to rifle through your pockets or coin purses. But the instant you do so much as glance at them or even acknowledge that they're doing, they squeal and run away. Yeah, there's a curiosity, perhaps an innocence to them, which is somewhat amusing, but kind of annoying at the same time.
Oh, Artisan, could you tell them I don't like being touched?
He does, and that just provokes them, because now they want to touch you to get a reaction. Like, they poke, and yeah, they. How do you react when they start giving you more attention than you were getting before?
So I imagine one of them grabs my left hand and kind of instinctually I tense up, expecting it to flare and spread the blue flame to them, but nothing happens.
No, that's right. That's right. And they're amused by your scars or fascinated the way a child might be when they see tattoos for the very first time. It's they're not sure if it's real, but they really want to touch it.
If anyone gets too bold, I'll start physically pushing them away.
Yeah, they don't like that. They don't like that, and they take the message really quickly, and it sends kind of shockwaves through the community. Your small act of violence reflects not just on you, but on the whole party, and they all get a little bit more cautious at that point, a little less frivolous, a little less, not less friendly, but the terror becomes greater and the curiosity less.
I suppose because it's all about the flight. He'll get an artist to translate if one of them wants to try on his hat.
They would love that.
Well, it's a special hat.
Yes, they agree.
No, because it coats the wearer in viscous orange fluid.
Ah, this hat is amazing. Everyone wants the hat now. Everyone wants the fluid, and they all eat it and lick it, and they love the flavor of it. And this is the greatest thing ever. Greatest thing ever.
We're all covered in sticky.
I don't want to give it back.
It's white. This is hat.
But they don't want to give it back. You gave it to me.
Mine now.
Sad.
That's right. When they see that you're sad, they get sad as well, and they're reluctant to give up the hat, but they offer you a handful of sand instead.
And he wants his hat.
How about a rock?
He'll offer a flint shuriken for the hat.
Yeah, all right, they'll take it. Ooh, but it's very dangerous. This flint shuriken. Like one of them warns the others how dangerous these things can be, and he shows them one of his own. And they're very interested. But
The
wow,
most responsible one should have it, and they should argue about that.
Yes. All right. That sets them up to eventually one of the older women is assumed or presumed to be the most responsible, and she gets it, and she's going to use it for responsible things like cutting up meat and getting using it as a tool rather than a toy.
Like she's only burnt herself like 3 times on the sand today.
Precisely.
I don't think these guys are going to be very helpful to us.
Not particularly. They are sort of interesting in their own little way. They have the kind of innocence you'd expect from children.
So it's
Artisan.
investigating like the village, like because did they do their own crafting? Like where did their stuff come from? Or was it all very primitive?
They don't have much stuff at all, and what they do have has almost certainly been salvaged, most likely from people like the Badine. They have, and the Badine are such resourceful people that they don't throw away a lot unless it's pretty much useless. So what they do have that isn't useless likely got blown away in a sandstorm, a scarf here, a shoe there, some reins, and maybe the remnants of a saddle or some rope, and so what they have is junk. It's really just junk. But there's a practicality to that junk. Like rags can be used as clothing, and rope can be used as a to hold things together, and so on. The stuff that they have isn't entirely useless, but it would be thrown away by most other people.
Because someone must be looking after these. Like how old does the stone ring look?
That's a good question. Make a insight or history or arcana check.
Insight? Was that one of them?
Yeah, insight's cool. Yeah.
13.
You recognize the runes as netherese, and therefore the ruin is probably netherese as well.
So ancient.
Ancient, yeah.
My first thought was maybe like someone was keeping these as like maybe pets. Like I'll put this circle down to look after them, but like they probably found it.
Yeah, and for some reason they choose this to be the basis of their civilization. It keeps the magic out.
I mean, more likely, it's like, oh look, it's a cool circle.
Yeah. They offer to help you find water, or this is translated through artisan, of course, but they start getting kind of helpful. Do you need to find something to drink?
No, we're okay on water. Do you have any food though?
They can help you find food. They know how to find eggs, and they know where birds can be found, and they know which cacti are good to eat. And so on. Like they profess to, they don't go out and say we are experts, but the indication is that they know this desert like the back of their hand, and whatever it is that you're looking for, they'll help you find. They assume that you must be travelers, and travelers normally follow a particular route. Would you like to go to that particular route? We can help you find your road if you are lost.
No, we're looking for the mines of Tiliamar.
And the three who brought you here explained that, we showed them how to get to Tithiamar. We showed them how to get to a mine, rather. And they understand that, and they would be only too happy to guide you there. They don't seem to even ask for anything in exchange. They just, you guys are friends, and you want to go through walk through hell to get somewhere. I'll take you through hell, sure.
That is very kind of you. Thank you.
This kind of altruism is quite uncommon.
Tells you that they call themselves the D Tarig, whatever that means. It doesn't translate to anything, but that seems to be what they call themselves.
I'm not sure. All right. I guess we can accept the offer of a little escort towards Tethiamar. I suppose in return, we could tell them about the 3 scorpions that we killed near the oasis. As resourceful as these people are, they might be able to make something of the chitin.
Yeah, absolutely. They tell you that it's very dangerous, though. Even dead scorpions can kill you.
And also, Flightless remembers you didn't get to getting the poison later.
No, we didn't.
No, that's right. Yeah, and the poison wasn't extracted.
No.
Suppose we could pass by there on the way to Tethiamar, since we.
Or you just found yourself on the drow list?
Oh.
They know how to find the oasis. Not surprisingly, I mean they were going there when we first met them, so that should be of no surprise at all. But yeah, once again, it's just it's well within their expertise. They might not have a lot of skills, but desert survival is one thing that they do know.
Fair
You have
enough.
to go past the oasis to get to Tethiamar?
We don't have to, no. In fact, it's kind of out of the way, but that doesn't seem to bother them one iota.
Yeah. There's more scorpions we can find.
Yeah.
They agree with that. Like, yeah, you want to see more scorpions? Sure, we'll take you there.
No, we'll pass on that one thing.
Suppose they'll agree
Right
that
then,
scorpions aren't very nice.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. All right. Well, they think that you might as well wait here, and they point to the sun and how intense it is at the moment, and that perhaps we would be. Well, no, I think we discovered them just an evening, didn't we? So I guess now is an optimal time to travel. They can see in the dark. They assume that you can as well, because everyone can see in the dark. So yeah, let's head off into the night, and the sandstorm has abated now to the point where the stars are visible. It's more just rising and falling of gusts of blistering wind, but nothing so terrible as to. It's not consistent. So yeah, if you want to head out, then they're ready to go with you.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So we head off. Chaka, a D30, please.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. Do I have a horse?
Do you have the resource to resummon it?
You did not just roll a 2 again. God damn it.
He did, but fortunately the dragon does not come back.
Oh, Dragon's dead.
Draco Lich.
Right. The dragon is dead. They're a very rare dragon to begin with. They're so rare that people don't even know that there are yellow dragons.
Well, we seem to encounter all of them.
Yes, we have exterminated the race, basically.
I was hoping for that dragon to stick about because I wanted to learn Draconic from it. Because I sort of got like that free proficiency, but I want to have it be something that is learnt in games. No, rather than waking up I know Draconic now.
I don't think the dragons say they've got to have some intelligence, but I don't think they're any smarter than white dragons. I'll post the wiki for anyone who's interested.
Okay, well I am.
Yeah.
Because with the free proficiency, I'm just waiting to learn something in game, rather than
excellent.
with sudden knowledge of something that he's never seen before.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of looking at it. But fortunately, or not, the dragon does not reappear. Okay. We have no guns
to resummon the horse, but
you do.
The spell itself isn't prepared, so I'll have to walk. That's fine though, because I figure as we're going to go into the mines, a horse, not a good place for a horse anyway. So in a way, it was kind of convenient to have the horse dispelled.
Do you have a name for your horse?
I'm gonna go with see what's our first name off the top of my head. How about Percy?
It sounds good, and it's also the name of the first campaign that Druid had a what is it? Owl bear cub named Percy. So that was strange to hear.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then. Okay, cool. So the Ditari guide us through the desert, and occasionally they take big swerving motions that seem to be playful at first, but we come to realize that there's a very good reason why. They are playing, but they're playing in a sensible way. They're going around certain crops of rock and around certain locations, but they're doing it in a fun way, even though it's essentially a precaution. Everything that they do is with a sense of frivolity. Yeah.
So it's seemingly meaningless, but when you look back, it's oh yeah, we didn't. We skipped around those rocks, but when you take a closer look, there could be a basilisk there.
Precisely that. That's right. Some of the rocks are actually camouflaged basilisks. Yeah, precisely that. But the playfulness, the juvenile curiosity fades quite suddenly when a huge set of gates comes into view. An enormous a set of gates that shine like dark metal, not as reflective as silver or steel. More of a grey, stony color, but reflective. The way that I guess grainy aluminium might be. It's reflective, but it's not bright. It's not that lustrous. In any case, they get quite cautious at this point, around about a mile out, and one of them calls over the others and points out some hoof prints, some horse hoof prints. And they all agree that these are bad people.
Looks like this is the place.
Right. Thanks for the help getting us here.
Yeah. They think that it's probably a bit about time to back off, and they're all looking around in different directions. And some of them seem to think that we've already come too far. In fact, they would appreciate it if you'd come back with them. You've seen the mines now. Come on, let's go.
Those will get artists to say something like, but we're heroes. There's something in the mines that we need.
But there's danger in there. Really big danger.
So something like, oh, heroes are stupid. They need danger.
And when you say danger, do you mean people like us, like people as big as us, wielding weapons like us?
Yes, but more. Big danger.
But I'll sketch the Zentarum symbol and show it. Actually, I'll show them the forged Zentarum symbol I have from, like, the note. Like, what is it? Like the fake blood contract, to see if they recognize it.
They're not entirely sure, but the woman who got the shuriken points in there. But even then, that's not what they're talking about. They can't explain what they are talking about, but it's really, really dangerous in there. She closes her left eye, and opens up her right eye, like pulling her eye sockets open with her own fingers, and looks at you.
Can I make, I guess, a nature check? Because I'm thinking Cyclops or Beholder.
Sure.
He's never heard of, like, a one-eyed creature. Because he's thinking of a one-eyed creature, that's probably what she's referring to.
Cyclopses and beholders are both common enough that they make up children's stories. So yeah, your 7 nature could... It's as good as guess as anything, you know? But it damn well could be anything, you know? She might be indicating the sun, or a pit, or just about anything.
Or maybe there's just a giant in there with one eye.
Right?
Just a guy in there with one eye.
Precisely. Or maybe there's just an eye in there.
Mm.
And you're not supposed to touch it, because I wouldn't touch it.
Pretty rude to poke someone in an eye, and if you're just an eye, like, it must be more rude.
That's right. You're very, very annoyed very quickly.
Do they know anything about just how many dangers there might be in there? As in, like, individuals?
Let's see. Dangers about individuals. More than they can count, put it that way. And they show you their fingers and their toes.
Do they have 4 or 5 fingers?
They have 5. I was wondering that myself. Yeah, no, they got 5, yeah.
Alright.
And I guess I look to the party and say, well, do we still want to do this?
While you're deciding and discussing this, brum, 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 there comes a concentrated sandstorm. That is to say, the way dust gets kicked up, right? You can see a cloud of dust approaching, and that's a mile away, but we're only a mile from the gates, and it's coming from more or less behind us, more or less. And it moves at a relatively quick rate, certainly faster than we can run.
Horsemen are coming.
I guess we'll, like, shoo them off then.
Yeah.
So we'll say that that might be less friendly than us, and would rather than.
But that's why they want to stay with you, because that, you know, look, it's and it's a lot, as I noted, it's kind of on the other side of us. So if the mines are where they are on the map, and we are where we are on the map, it's coming up like that sort of thing.
Yeah. So the people, they've probably seen us and trying to put themselves between us and the mine.
Yes, putting us. Yeah, that's right. Like we are sandwiched between the mine and this other figure. They're a mile away from us in either direction, but we're still going to be in the middle. We are in the middle.
I guess he's quite perceptive. Can you try to look into the cloud and spot what's in there, like coming towards us?
Disadvantage, and even then, it's going to be an extremely hard test because
That's what I'm expecting. But I've got my number.
Yeah, you got a chance. Yeah,
Can Chaka just say that it's horses?
sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it might be camels, but we did see the horse hoof print, so 15's pretty good. And Chaka's instinct checks out. there's no evidence of it. But I guess what the perception check does tell us is not whether or not it's horses, because it probably is, but the number. It's likely more than one. One horse tends not to make that big a cloud, but it's likely less than 20, because otherwise it'd be a much more substantial cloud. So a small number of horses who are concentrated enough that they are likely a very small herd or a small cavalry force.
Or like a decent patrol of Zentan.
Yeah.
Definitely does seem like they could be scouts.
Yeah, quick, let's get out of their path and take cover.
I suppose
Yeah.
he'll like just reveal like the fake blood contract again, just to like remind everyone he has it.
True. We'll use that if they catch us. We'll
Just-
see if we can hide behind a dune or something.
Just say that
Uh-huh.
maybe have some sort of story like ready that we got attacked by like Badine and the slaves were taken, but we escaped.
Yeah.
Sure.
The contractors were taking slaves across the desert, and we don't have slaves.
Uh-huh.
All right. So we like.
Slaves up.
No, please continue. No, please continue. Yeah.
Say maybe. Well, I mean, just think. We can think of something. Just like we're on the way to pick up the slaves, maybe.
I'll quickly communicate to you, like frantically, that if this is the plan we're going with, then somebody else is going to have to do the talking because it's against my honor code to lie.
He gives you like a sort of does not compute. Like I mean, that's just a sort of like. It's where he comes from. Like you either lie or you die.
Yeah.
Lie or die. I like that.
Wait. Can Flightless even lie?
Ha! He can deceive.
I mean, if someone's lied, I suppose if he has a line that says like this water is safe to drink, you could say it about poison, and that would be a lie. But talking about water, I'll be right back.
Sure. Then let's take a short break, because there's not much we can do with two, particularly if one person refuses to talk. See you momentarily.
Yeah. Ugh.
Quite a few people.
I don't like that.
I have
There's quite a few.
I don't know. We're taking a quick break.
Yeah.
No, because when I got I got home from work and immediately sat down to join the game because I don't want to be too late, and then I was like, I'm really thirsty.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's fine. Like how many of them there are there?
Well, are those the horsemen, or is that the people traveling with us?
There's only like 3 of them traveling with us, I think. I think that's horsemen.
Okay.
I wouldn't be quite as intimidated by that number if we had the full party, all 5 of us.
Or
But
maybe
seeing
like,
as
if
there's
we
only
had spell
3 of
slots.
us, we got a long rest in
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
after fighting the scorpions. Yeah. So we are fully geared up to take this on. I just feel if we had all 5 of us, this would be less intimidating.
Until it becomes obvious that our instincts were correct and they are indeed horses. They don't bear any kind of heraldry or Zentarum or otherwise, and instead they're just dressed the way Badine might be. And these individuals are pretty heavily armed, I suppose. They've got short bows, they've got scimitars, they have war horns as well. And at least one of them gets the war horn out in favour of its bow or its sword. And it seems it'll only take a small gesture for such an instrument to be blasted. But they ride up to the vicinity and the edge of the camp, the edge of the pack, and the Detarig do their best to put you between them and themselves. So you are able to put yourselves somewhere, and the detail rig will use you as human shields.
Oh, okay, these are the deterrent. Okay.
They are.
That's only 5. That's all. Oh, those are scouts.
Yeah, there's about 20 of them, from what we could tell from the cloud.
I think it was
No,
said less than 20.
More than one.
Yeah, more than one, less than 20. The dust cloud begins to fade as they arrive, so this does appear to be like the probably all of them. Yeah, probably all of them.
Can we distinguish like a Badine like tartan among them?
Say that again.
Can we distinguish like the symbols of like a specific like what is it like Badine tribe among them?
None.
Okay.
No, they don't have any heraldry of any sort, Badine or Zentarum or otherwise. They're dressed practically, but their clothing is kind of mismatched. Yeah, they're not wearing the tartans or whatever the word is for a particular type of headdress. But they have different headdresses anyway, which is not something you've seen among the Badine before. They tend to identify themselves proudly, wearing their flags on their heads, basically, and these individuals have no such heraldry. By now, it's early morning. Probably about 7 a.m. So it's still the cool of the day, but that won't last much longer.
As they approach, I thought it was just say like the one word in like the drow voice, in his customary drow voice, like bandits.
Well, it is not every day that one sees a Kenku on the sands, says the one in the front, who has the nicest scimitar, the largest horse. She's a woman whose fair skin has been pretty badly burned by the sun and is beginning to tan.
Like, hey, lol, you mind introducing yourselves?
Surprisingly eloquent Kenku at that. Are you sure you are a Kenku at all?
So it's like looks down, looks up like call the creature flightless.
He is indeed a Kenku, and his name is Flightless.
Who are you?
I'm getting a bit of lag. If it continues, I'll go and connect the Ethernet cable, but we'll persist for now. We are locals, she says, pausing before responding with the final word. This is a most unusual entourage. Have you adopted some of these desert gnomes as your own?
We got lost in a sandstorm, and these helped us on our way back here.
Yes, they are our guides.
I see. And they are guiding you, and she looks up towards the gunmetal grey doors. They are guiding you here?
To the southeast.
You are awfully close to this monument. Are you sure this is not your destination?
Well, what even is this place?
You do not know where you are?
I have some inkling.
What does your instinct tell you then, friend?
Just wince, knowing that I can't knowingly tell a lie. I believe it to be the mines of Tethiamar.
You are rather well versed in local law for a Cormyrean. What brings you to the mines of Tethiamar?
We are looking for the Zentarum.
You have found us. Have you business with our organization?
Yes, we have documents here for picking up slaves.
She looks at the data rig. You already seem to have rather a large collection. You are collecting them but not selling them.
I guess you'll just gesture at the contract. I guess that Eleanor has, and she'll shrug.
Bring it forward.
Alright, I'll bring it forward.
And she sends one of her assistants, a man in his early 20s, to come and he has one hand on his scimitar and he lets go of the reins. He uses the other hand to take the document. Then wheels his horse around and takes your document away from you.
That back.
The contract is basically we struck up a deal to like cart some slaves across the desert in return for our freedom. And I've never rolled for how good the forgery is because you made me wait. Should I do that now?
Yes, perfect to do it now. Yes.
Intelligence?
Yeah. Yeah, intelligence is probably best, yeah.
15.
That's good, yeah. Certainly checks out at a casual glance out in the desert. The wind nearly blows it out of her hand, and she rolls it back up again. Very well. You are better off directing your queries to Sanfort Shembrel. We have limited stock at Tethiamar, and what stock we do have is needed for the mines. In fact, we would be more inclined to purchase than to sell. The mines are dangerous, and we need hardy folk who can swing a pick. Your quarry may be too small, but, well, if they only last a 10-day, then they will have been put to good use.
Noted. My eye twitches, trying to avoid telling lies, and I'm just thinking to myself, God damn it, I wish Mara was here now. This is exactly the sort of thing she'd excel at.
What do you say, Frightless?
Guess
Do we sell off the riffraff?
I suppose he'll like repeat the part of the contract where we need to take them to Theodora.
You will find Theodora at Sanfort Shembrel. It seems that you are in the wrong location entirely.
I suppose he'll try to get across. We got lost in the storm.
Like we said, we got lost in the sandstorm that rolled through.
We did.
Well, it should be easy enough to find. If you follow the Desert Mouth Mountains, and she gestures towards the wall of stone that we've reached the lip of, and walk north, Sanfort Shembrel should become into view before the mountain pass does. It will be impossible to miss. If you like, I could let out a signal for you, though they are unlikely to hear it at this distance, and it may, in fact, agitate the priests within the mines.
I suppose he'll make sounds like, scorpions, yellow dragons, that might across the point like something else that might hear your signal.
Well, you are a Kenku. I don't exactly know what you're saying, but you have at least proven that you are a Kenku. What is the creature attempting to purvey?
I believe he's trying to get across that blowing that horn may attract the attention of other unsavory things that make those noises.
He'll nod.
She thinks about it and looks at who was probably her second in charge, and the second in charge is giving her a rather subordinate "you idiot" look. And she agrees. It was perhaps a bad idea. Well, you have your directions now. Are you interested in selling your stock or not?
He'll shake his head and sort of point at the contract.
Yes, that is understandable. You would not want to violate the terms of your agreement. Very well then. Is there anything else that you have that might be of use to us? You do not seem particularly well equipped. In fact, where are your horses? Have you no rations at all? How are you surviving out here?
We have food.
Day by day, we were attacked by a dragon before the sandstorm. It ate half our horses, and the other two fled.
And then the sandstorm hit right after that.
I'd say we've had a spree of immaculately bad luck taking on this contract.
Yes, well, you shall call it bad luck, but perhaps it is simply bad decision-making. Rock is a very dangerous place. One cannot hope to survive out here without experience, and yet you've done quite well to acquire yourselves these pets. I suppose I should not be so harsh in my judgment. But I am curious. I cannot help to be. A Cormyrean, a Kenku, and what are you? Are you Oriental?
I come from Qatar. A plate of horses.
You are one of those savages whose invasion failed, who were defeated, if my history serves me correctly, by the Cormyreans. Ironic, perhaps.
More or less, yes.
Well, I have seen more motley bands of slavers before, though not very frequently. Perhaps there is something else that I can help you with?
No, you've been quite enough help. Thank you.
Very well. Then you know where to go. Just keep the Desert Mouth Mountains within sight at all times. You might want to get closer. There was a terrible sandstorm the past 2 days, which would have blocked the vision even of that lofty mountain range. And from there, simply travel north, and it will be inevitable that you will find your destination.
Thank you.
I suppose he'll gesture at the contract, like, are we going to get it back?
Oh, yes, of course. And she sends the lieutenant back. Are they Ditarig? Are they the desert dwarves?
I believe so. I think that's what they called themselves.
Then you may be instructed to return them here after all. I fear that whatever journey that you might take getting up to the Sand Fort will simply have to be a process repeated. They see in the dark, and while they may not be very tall or muscular, their endurance is great. That is how they survive in this environment. I suspect that they will find their way back to the mines one way or another. She laughs.
He'll mimic the laugh like he got the joke.
Yeah.
But he'll give, like, I guess the appropriate subordinate, like, bow as she, like, departs from, like, the group.
Seems to appreciate the bow. Doesn't necessarily deserve it. She's probably only a corporal or something like that, not even a sergeant. I used the word lieutenant, but it was, just I should have said perhaps second in charge. In any case, you give her a bow that she may not legally be entitled to, and it seems to make her glow with a certain amount of pride. Though the second in charge thinks it's a little bit strange that you would get such a basic gesture so very wrong. Anyway, overly formal, monstrous brain, however the way you look at it. She seems quite relaxed about it, whereas the second in charge does not. And they allow you to go on your way.
Alrighty then, and so we shall.
We're just gonna wait for them to get on distance, right? Then go right back to the mine.
They're doing the same for you.
Oh,
They're waiting to make sure that you do head north after all.
I guess we do have to head north then.
yeah.
Yeah, we might have to go north a couple of miles.
I suppose as we depart, he's like, oh, you conducted yourself rather well. Eleanor to Eleanor.
I just kind of like scratch my head and look a little exhausted. Like this sort of thing was normally something Mara would do. Now that she's gone, I realize that so much is missing. I'm like a coin with only one face. I'm incomplete.
He hasn't got very good words, but I guess he'll like put it, like do the hand over the shoulder thing to give you some comfort.
Appreciate it, Flightless. Mara is an old friend, someone I've known for a very long time, and still hard to believe that she's gone.
You sort of like nod as you talk.
Just nods back and gives the impression that as much as needs to be said about it.
Does it? Actually, I've got a quote here in my list of quotes. Because he used to like watch plays like when he used to sneak into the theatre. So one of the quotes he has is "Work is the best antidote to sorrow."
You might be right
That's a
about
good
that,
one.
Silas. And if we do indeed head to the mines, then there'll be much work ahead of us indeed.
Guess we'll we'll head off.
For as long as it takes to shake off the scouts.
Uh-huh.
So we head north, and they kind of follow us a little bit. You know, their mobility is obviously much greater than ours, and they seem to be suspicious enough of our motivations that they don't put us out of our sight yet. After all, they are scouts, and you're probably the most interesting thing they've seen all day, and it would be maybe a little bit disingenuous to just trust you outright, particularly because your slaves weren't in chains or anything like that. You might be a warband of adventurers who have befriended a group of Ditarig and are bound for the mines of Tethiamar for your own nefarious purposes. After all,
No.
it wouldn't be unrealistic. It's it's a possibility.
But I guess,
No, ridiculous.
I guess
Ridiculous.
they may be curious, but I guess ultimately they still have a job to do. So they can't
Exactly that.
follow us eternally.
But they can't follow us eternally. That's right. And so we travel for a couple of miles, and by then it's getting into the heat of the day. Are we going to stop or walk to the point of exhaustion?
They stop. We're not in a rush.
Yeah, we're doing the sensible thing.
Sure.
My
Yep.
my suggested plan would be to like just go up for like even for a few more hours after we've lost sight of them, and then just go into the forest and like circle our way back to the mines that way, so that there's no chance of us meeting them again.
Go back to Tinker Falls and then go through the mine shaft. Go to the Underdark.
Sort of maybe try something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Well, if we're
Not-
going to do
not
that...
exactly
Right.
because that's hundreds of miles, but something similar to that.
Yeah, and this map is far from accurate. Like the forest doesn't stretch down anywhere near as close to the mines as that would indicate, but the Desert Mouth Mountains do have trees on them, you know, and so you can imagine this area here, the edge of the forest and the edge of the mountains, being a bit of both. More like forested foothills than either forest or mountains. Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
we would hopefully we would have passed enough like terrain like that the courses wouldn't be able to pass through that small amount of desert. Hopefully, isn't an issue.
Oh yeah, so I think I understand what you mean. And while this plan is coming to, in the planning stages, the detail rig, they want to go home. They've guided you here now. It's too hot to travel, but as soon as it's not hot enough to travel, they're going to part ways.
Yeah, that was the second part of the plan. As soon as
Right.
we think, we'll go as far. So we'll wait until we can't see them anymore and travel a few more hours, and then we'll say goodbye to detail rig, and we'll separate there and tell them to go a different way home.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
We'll go right into the forest, and they'll go left into the desert.
Sure. They want to head off before you are ready, around about 2 p.m. when it's still really hot. They're ready to get going. What about you guys? Do you you've gotten your short rest? Not that you necessarily needed it, but you have. But it's still hot. Like 2 p.m. is not any cooler than the 12 p.m. and in fact might be more hot because the radiant heat has built up. So yeah, are you going to start traveling in the hottest part of the day, like the detail rigs seem to want to do, or you're gonna stay camped here with your palm fronds and whatever shelter that you
So I guess,
have gathered?
when was the last time we saw the scouts?
That's a good question.
I missed that. Sorry, I might have lagged.
When was the last time we saw the scouts?
About 4 hours ago. But they have been. But you have seen their or somebody's sand since then. So they're doing a patrol of several miles, and over the course of 4 hours, you spot them at least one more time. They don't get close enough to make out whether it actually is them or somebody else making a similar sized dust cloud. They're in the area, going backwards and forwards.
Well, we have plenty of water thanks to Chaka, so we can keep ourselves pretty well hydrated. It's just a case of enduring the heat.
Sounds like a choice, a decision.
Yeah.
So we just push on for a few more. We'll get going. So we'll push forward a bit more, like we said, and it's part ways.
Oh, we are. So we are heading off in the heat of the day, like the detail rig do.
I think we still need to hold up appearances for at least a few more hours.
All right. Well, they want to go deeper into the desert. That's the problem. They want to go back the way they came. So yeah, you can either accompany them into the desert deeper and then backtrack, remain here in what little shelter you have, protected from the heat, or part ways entirely and start heading for the forest.
So just part ways now and head into the forest. Probably the best.
All right.
Yeah. Go for that.
All right. As you near the edge of the forest, you'll see that the dust cloud goes to where you were previously. The Zentarum presumably have come back to investigate your little camp, but you're gone. Make a perception or an insight check at that point if you wish. Yeah, great. Their group splits into two smaller sized dust clouds, one going northwest and one going northeast towards you.
Looks like they've realized that our party is split.
I guess gonna try to figure out can we get to the forest before they get to us?
If you hoof it, yeah, you probably can. It's like a mile to cover, whereas they've got 3 miles, and they move at maybe 3 or 4 times as fast as you. So it's going to be close. It's going to be close. It depends on whether they trot or gallop, I guess.
Okay. Well, it is hottest part of the day, so maybe they'll take it a little slower.
Yeah, I reckon if we can make it to the forest, because they seem determined to pursue us. If we can make it into the forest, we might be able to ambush them. Like there's half as many, so there's just 2 or 3 of them. Might be able to take out their horses before they can react.
Oh, I like it.
All right. So are we going to hoof it or not?
We might have.
Are we going to go fast or?
First.
Yeah. Probably go fast.
Then make a Constitution saving throw as you exert yourself in conditions that are punishing at the best of times. Sharky, you are built for this country. Flightless, your black feathers somehow insulate you against the heat. Don't ask me how.
Mm-hmm.
And Eleanor, you're trained to endure bitter conditions, and in spite of the fact that you're in metal armor, aren't you?
I did, but I bought the thick wool cloak, which is like cold weather gear, but for hot. So
yeah, but it's not going to help when you're running. It's just going to make you more hot. That's a good call. And normally, if you're keeping a cool pace, then that'll be fine. But wool is an insulator, which means it protects you from the sun, but it also keeps the body heat that you generate in as well. Prevents evaporation, but you're going to be overheating really fast.
True. I'll take the 6 then.
You take the 6, and when you reach the forest edge, you have a level of exhaustion. Chaka, can you roll a D100, please?
Sure.
Okay, I'll go down to our border forest. 28.
I hear
Choose the number.
cops in the distance.
That's it. That's it. We all right. Okay, cool. Make a fresh perception check.
Okay.
Is that all of us? Or just Chaka?
Yeah, everyone can do it. Yeah, everyone can do it. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Eleanor, you're exhausted, and I think you get disadvantage on skill checks with 1 level of exhaustion.
That's right, yeah.
Not that it matters.
1 second.
Flight. Yep. Yeah, that's cool. Flightless, you keep an eye out for the pursuers, and they do pursue us. There's no doubt about that. Occasionally they slow down to check that they're still following our tracks, but once they point towards the forest, they may be 500 feet away from the forest, maybe 1,000 feet. You can see them. They probably can't see you, but they can see your tracks. They make an executive decision to not pursue you any further, but just to patrol the forest edge to get any sign of where you might be. But they don't seem to see you. And Chaka, while Eleanor catches her breath and Flightless follows our path, you notice something that can only be described as bizarre. The forest is thick and green. The border forest where it reaches Anarok's edge is very vibrant and healthy. It's only that Anarok keeps encroaching upon it, that it consumed it. It's not like a natural environment. It's not the border forest isn't dried out over here because of natural reasons. It gets almost as much rainfall as anywhere else within the forest. It's just that the magical encroachment of the desert is what creates the border and kills the trees. So anyway, you're in a relatively thick jungle-like environment, tropical and quite warm. The radiant heat from the desert filtering its way through the 100 feet or so of forest that we've come into. And the regular creatures are here: small snakes and spiders, chirping birds and lizards. things that look a little bit like a rat but aren't quite, and grasshoppers that have human-like faces and little bows and arrows and small backpacks.
What?
What?
Okay, sure.
What? And when they notice that you notice them, they get quite defensive, and they look a lot like little fairies with their tiny gossamer grasshopper wings. But yeah, weird little critters. I might post some pictures down in Discord.
They sound weird.
There's one of them. That one, its wings are folded back. Here's one that its wings are extended. Like centaurs, grasshopper centaurs with fairy wings.
Are they the size of grasshoppers, or are they like
They
the
are.
size of us?
No, they're the size of grasshoppers, only a few inches long. Not even as big as a praying mantis.
See.
They watch you with a kind of fearsome or frightened curiosity, and try to hide and come out, behaving not unlike the detail rig, but with far more caution and far less frivolity.
I'll just kind of talk in Druidic, saying like, "Oh, don't worry, we're friends of the forest."
They ask a question in Sylvan. No one understands?
No.
No. They're not sure what to do now. You hear the word druid being said, because druid's a word that translates through most languages. It's originally a Sylvan word, and it's just been adapted into other languages.
Nod and say, "Yes, I'm a druid."
Yeah. And they nod, and they seem to agree that you must be a druid, because it sounded like you were speaking druidic. But beyond that, they have no way of communicating with you. And that leaves them a little bit sad. Frustrated, yes, but mostly sad. Like, they don't seem to know what to do. They're not talking to you at this point. The three of them are communicating with each other, but everyone knows what shrugged shoulders mean. That's another fairly universal gesture. And they're kind of frustrated that they have something to tell you, but no way of getting the message across. What do? They don't know.
I'll say what's going on in kind of a basic Elvish. Does that help at all?
Make a performance or persuasion roll as you try to get your message across. But yeah, if it means nothing to them. Maybe help means dinosaur, and yeah, whatever. Yeah, right. Like the words that you say just make no sense to them. Did you eat your dinosaur today? Well, no, but I didn't eat one yesterday either.
I was kind of shrugging. Continue on what we were doing, I guess.
And what was that?
Well, getting ready for an ambush, I guess.
The Zentarum don't seem to be interested in coming in. They watch your entrance, and they're coming up closer towards the edge. How far into the forest did we go? I assumed 100 feet, because beyond that you probably couldn't see.
It was far
Yeah,
enough
seems-
that it would be a major issue for horses.
Yeah. And they point to your tracks, like it's obvious that you've gone in here. You can probably hear some of the words they're saying. There are three of them, including the commander, the corporal, and she's talking to the others and treating them, more or less as equals. The second in charge is not here, notably, but the two men that she does have with, she's kind of asking for their opinion, and their opinion is, well, looks like they got away, but we saw them. I could see them. They haven't been here very long. Well, it's 3-on-3, and one of them is a knight. Like, do you really want to fight a knight? Maybe if we were out here in the desert, then her armor would be a hindrance. But in there, yeah, like, hang on, wasn't one of them one of those savages from the east? If she survived the journey from the east, then she's probably an experienced hunter. And they seem reluctant. They basically seem to agree, all three of them, that this isn't really worth it. But at the same time, if they go back empty-handed, that's admitting defeat,
Get whipped.
and that's pretty bad too, right? Like, yeah, she might lose command of the warband, and it be given to someone else.
I guess we have to wait for them to decide what's more important to them: their lives or their jobs.
Right? Yeah. And meanwhile, the little grasshopper people are deciding as well. There's three groups of three, each trying to decide what to do, and nobody's entirely sure. But everybody's kind of in agreement. So Zentarum kind of agree that this is a lost cause. You all kind of agree that if you just wait long enough, then it's going to work in your favor. And the little grasshopper people kind of agree that they either seek assistance from you, or they'll be entirely empty-handed. So they try to get that message across.
I'll try.
Come with us.
I'll try something in Orin.
Orin, they like it. They like the fact that you speak this language, but none of them speak the language, and it frustrates them more. But they seem to, again, like Druidic, they seem to recognize the language but not speak it.
We've gone up to them like, one of us speaks Latin and the other speaks like ancient Roman, and they're like, I know what that is, but I don't speak it.
Right, yes, yeah, that's it. And you've got a couple of common words, Druid, for example, and a couple of words that are completely, totally wrong. But you do get the idea that they've decided to try to get you to follow them.
I'd follow them.
Wizard, they try. Wizard.
Oh, you got that one?
Boom!
Oh, there's a wizard here?
Boom!
Off in the distance.
And when one of them nods and one of them shakes their head and the other one's just a bit confused and can't decide if it's yes or no.
Makes a fireball sound?
Yeah, they flinch at that and they go quiet and they look around. Wizard, they whisper, and they're looking around for the wizard now.
Because I've heard it before, so I'll go Arazuk. Because Arazuk.
They don't seem to understand that word.
I'll show them the Zentarum symbol.
No. They point towards Eleanor.
Huh.
They point at her chest.
This? I'll kind of frame the sigil on her chest.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they agree.
Flightless and stitched together two sentences like do you know? And then wizard in using the voice of the person, the grasshopper people.
Wizard, and then they point again, and they agree. They point at your symbol, your Cormyrean sigil.
Okay, I'll
say, are they talking about the war wizards?
I don't know about war wizards. Is that what you call them in your country?
There are some which are highly regarded. But what would one be doing out here?
That's a good question. Do you want to find out?
I certainly do. I must admit I'm intrigued, and it seems like the scouts are taking the wise decision and choosing not to follow us in here.
Uh-huh. I'll kind of say a few words, kind of getting the grasshoppers to show us where to go.
All right.
Open-armed.
They've made the decision basically now, and the decision is unanimous that they want you to follow them. You seem to be agreeing to follow them, so like you sense that maybe they sense that this is a bad idea, but they're taking a gamble. They're rolling the dice and hoping that this works out for them. So they start leading you away, jumping and hopping and flying from branch to branch, and they're faster than you. They're smaller, so they're not tangled up in the vines. They're not exhausted the way Lady Eleanor is, and they lead you deeper into the forest. You keep following them. Yep. You keep following them, and you come to an area that is blasted in a literal sense. It looks like this place has been hit with a lot of fire, but the fire is curiously quite contained. It doesn't look like it started a forest fire and spread, but rather there was some massive explosion in a relatively concentrated area, or maybe multiple explosions. But as you're starting to appreciate that maybe this is the blast that they were referring to, you notice that there are scores of these little critters, like 40 or more, 50. And some of them have got their arrows drawn, and some of them have got their spears ready, and some of them are buzzing around, and so on. And you're outnumbered 50-3 by these militant fairy grasshoppers. And suddenly it occurs to you that maybe this was a trap.
What's going on here?
Wizard!
Looking around at the devastation.
Tries to find the
Definitely
wizard.
seems like it.
Wizard
Make a
did this?
Wizard! Boom! And some of them start crying. Make a perception check, or an insight check, or a nature check. As you, if you're trying to assess the damage, you're flightless. That's good. You'll notice, flightless, that there are a lot of hives, like giant, more like beehives than wasp nests. Big wax hives high up in the trees. And these trees several of them have been scorched or broken completely. It's starting to regrow. There's a little bit of regrowth, but it looks relatively fresh. But they still don't know how to communicate with you. What's happened here is you're starting to get a pitch for what might have happened, but certainly not why. And you don't even know why they led you here. Like why should you care what happened to these people?
I suppose he'll point up at the sun and make a fist, and then travel like the finger around like his fist a few times, and then like gesture like one like on his fingers, like how many days.
Make a persuasion or a performance roll to try to get your message across. They say 3 days, and some of them dare to show you some of their corpses. They don't bury their dead around here, they just leave them where they are. And curiously, the corpses weren't killed by fireball. They probably would have been incinerated if they were, but they've all had their wings ripped off.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Bell components.
knew what this was.
They then point up towards the hives, and the hives are partially damaged. Some of them are on trees that are barely standing. Others have had their wax melted, and they gesture up towards the hives, and they say, "Wizard."
The wizard's up there.
Wizard.
Point at the hive.
Boom.
Oh, the wizard blew them up. Okay.
Because the drow use magic, he might have seen, like, does he know, like, why these are useful to wizards, like the wings?
You can make an Arcana check. It wouldn't be too hard because, like, spell components are anything that's weird is sometimes used as a spell component, but
Doesn't know.
yeah, but doesn't know. No.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah, sure. There's a thing called pixie dust. Pixie dust can be used for making like potions of invisibility, love potions, stuff like that. Pixie dust is like as common as Batwing or Eye of Newt. It's a spell component that even children have heard of.
But not flightless.
Very valuable, but not flightless. They're not flightless. He doesn't know many children. Yeah, but very valuable. Like Pixie Wing is, it's worth a lot.
Maybe we don't have to go back with nothing. I'm joking.
Harvest the rest of them.
Here we go. Roll for initiative. 50 to 1, 50 to 3.
How much damage does their little short bows and spears do? Like 1
Depends if
point or D4?
Probably 1 point, but it depends on if they're poisoned or not.
True. Dart frog
Depends
poison.
how much piss Arctic off.
I think it's like because like the group of them could probably do like 50 points of damage, even if they do 1 point damage per turn.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's the 5e rules say that you add your dexterity to your damage. So remember whether they do or not. That's if they do, that's going to be a lot.
Death of 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, precisely. They gesture up towards the hives. They gesture towards the trees. Is there anything that you can do about this?
Not really. Just promise to get the guy. But they won't. No.
So the trees are like destroyed and like burned.
Yeah, some of them are. Yeah, some of them are teetering. Yeah.
I suppose Flightless will like recite the chant you did for like plant growth and the sort of shrug and point around at the damaged plants.
I'll kind of start singing and cast plant growth, I guess.
Oh, they love that. They love that. It strengthens the trees. It's pretty much. They didn't know what they were looking for, but this is. But this is it. This is great. And they're very appreciative.
The vegetation that's just been created with plant growth. I pull out my water skin of the enlargening juice, the special water that we got from the oasis, and then pour it like around their roots and whatnot to make them grow even further.
Brilliant, and some flowers bloom, and some of the trees grow slightly, and they cheer. They cheer with hoorays and huzzahs and celebrations, singing in their ultra high pitched voices, songs of praise. They're ecstatic at what you're doing and very thankful as well.
I'll see if I can crudely try and ask them a few questions about the wizard.
Yeah, I was going to like say wizard and then sort of point around like the area and shrug, like which way did he go?
Poof! They all agree he went poof.
Teleported. Oh, invisible.
I'll like point to myself and then try and make like me but smaller, like really really small, like football size. Trying to say like basically have they seen like a baby sized version of me, like a baby sized humanoid with the wizard.
They don't seem to understand. No.
I just furrow my brow a little bit because there's so much I want to know about this wizard, but I can't ask them. Judging by the fact they're pointing at me and whatnot, I have the assumption that it was a war wizard from Cormia, but why would he come here?
One of them thinks and scratches its chin. She's an old woman who bears a staff rather than a weapon of any sorts. And she has an idea. She creates an illusion. It's an illusion of an old man with a pointed head who has books flying around him. I'll post it in Discord. He bears the symbols of the War Wizards of Cormier. In fact, he doesn't just bear the symbols of the War Wizards, he bears the symbols of one of the commanders. Perhaps you could make a history check or something, because history is heraldry.
Alrighty. Would I make that with advantage, seeing as I'm from Cormier?
Yeah, that's probably a fair call, yeah. Yeah.
17.
I'd say it'd be reasonable that I don't even get a check. Like, I've never been to Cormier, let alone the surface.
Yeah, good point.
Get a check.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've battled the Cormyrians, so you can make a check. It's familiar to you, and this guy might be familiar to you, and you probably saw him nuking the goddamn battlefield, right? Like, he was a formidable, powerful wizard. We're talking meteor storms rather than fireballs. He was a master wizard. But Eleanor recognizes him. He is the Minister for Magic in Cormier. He is Jesnar the Seeker.
That asshole.
That's him.
Huh. Upon recognizing him, I can't help but be taken aback. Like, if it was an apprentice wizard, going out to gather themselves some spell components, that would make a little bit of sense, but someone like Jesnar, he has people for that. He wouldn't go out of his way to just collect some wings.
Might be part of a secret project he's working on.
It's sort of like Mark Zuckerberg going out and trying to like persuade people to use Facebook.
Yeah. It definitely does. It's definitely
Seems
beneath
a bit
him.
important.
So I actually have to wonder what brings him out to the border forest on such a seemingly trivial errand.
So you've mentioned to the party before that people are searching for like maybe the heir to the throne.
It's true. He could be searching, but
wizards have quite powerful divination. Maybe he's coming this way because of something he saw in the spell.
Or perhaps he already knows more. He's trying to cover it up.
you'd imply that the war wizards had something to do with the disappearance?
I'll shrug.
Well, like,
He doesn't know what a war wizard is. I mean, he probably just assumes a war wizard is a wizard you take to war. Not natural.
I've seen this guy in the distance before. He murdered lots of my people.
I see. Well, it was certainly unfortunate. Well, the war wizards are a group of sorcerers and wizards, of course, who fight on behalf of the Kingdom of Cormier and the royal family. They're very well regarded. Still can't imagine why he would come out here personally.
Who knows? But maybe we'll find out one day.
Maybe.
Finish what we are working on, huh?
Yes, you're right, you're right. We shouldn't be sidetracked by something like this, but I'll certainly keep it in mind. Well, we've done what we can for these little creatures. I suppose we should take a moment to rest and think about what we're going to do next. Whether we're going to try to assault the mines or give up on that plan entirely.
In the meantime, they present you with some honey that they've taken from their hives, and they offer you this kind of royal jelly, honey that's self-contained within its own little natural packaging, and they seem to be offering it up to you in a reverent fashion.
Oh, thank you. I'll bow very deeply.
So you'd be rude to refuse, so I'll take some.
Like to like emulate, I guess, the reverence that when he takes it.
I'll be very polite when I take mine as well.
Excellent. And so you've got this little ball of honey. They they gesture towards it that you're supposed to eat. You eat.
Oh, I suppose he'll go to eat the honey.
It is delicious, as sweet as the heavens themselves. Like it had come from the flowers of some celestial realm. Filling and nutritious, and invigorating. You've never tasted anything so delicious, and it's kind of ironic that after previously getting the strength of the water, you now get the vitality of the honey as well, and gain another D4 plus 1 maximum hit points.
Nice.
Wow. Really looking out with these encounters.
Looking forward to
Yeah.
2 more HP.
There we go.
Wow. Unfortunate. But hey, it's
Okay,
better than
10
nothing.
HP today.
I gained 7.
And you hit.
Did you roll ones for the 2d4 as well?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
God.
I have gained 4 HP.
I mean,
Jeez.
as a percentage, that's still pretty good.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Okay,
any
max.
amount of like permanent HP is like obviously amazing.
Uh-huh.
Especially for like people like me who think Constitution is optional for some reason.
How much constitution do you have?
10.
Ooh,
That's not
first,
that bad.
I needed charisma.
yeah, it's not like, it's just not god awful seeing as you're not on the front lines, but
I
it's
think-
definitely risky.
Like
Gotta roll for stats and get a 5 in your con.
no, what min maxers have nightmares about the types of characters I make.
Same.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would ever consider making a character with anything less than 12 con.
Guess I'm the same with charisma.
Yeah, charisma is a pretty interesting stat. Lots you can do with it in terms of RP.
Yeah, because like what's like a third of the game is like social interaction. If you have 8 charisma, you're just saying I don't want to do a third of the game.
It's
Looks at
true.
my 8 charisma.
Wait, sorry, what was that?
Oh, I'm just looking at my 8 charisma.
I mean, I've got 12 charisma, but I've got proficiency in deception, intimidation, and persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Persuasive Kenku?
Yeah, it's pretty useful. All right. Well, the Greeks, for that's what they are called, are delighted at what you've done to help them. They were reluctant to ask for help, but they trusted their instincts, and it's paid off. After all, who could be better assistants than a druid? They would be happy for you to spend as much time as you want here. And the sun is slowly creeping down over the horizon. It'll be dark within an hour or two. The Zentarum have departed at this point. What do we want to do?
I suppose at this point the paranoia might flare up a little bit more. Like, Flightless reckons we should move a few more hours and rest in like a more hidden location. Because they might have blown those horns of theirs. Or they might be coming back later with like more people.
Well, this is a pretty secluded area already.
Perhaps we can stay here with these little friendly creatures. We seem to have gained good favor with them.
And if we do stay here, I could help them out even more throughout the night.
We seem to have consensus. So Flightless will spend some time like trying to like break up the trail like we left behind.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sure.
And then I'll spend the next 8 hours doing the extended version of plant growth.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, they join in the dance, and it becomes something like a minor festival.
Well then, I don't know about you two, but I don't think we're going to get very far trying to assault Teliamar, just the three of us.
Yeah.
So, what do you think we should do?
You want to head over there still?
Yeah.
And then look
I
at
think
it?
we should probably make our way over there so that next session, when everyone is here, we can get right into it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we can't really follow the forest line. The forest ends before you're going to reach Tediamar. So that means either going into the desert or traveling through the foothills of the mountains. Both have their own unique challenges, and both are pretty dangerous territories.
I would say mountains. The foothills.
Mountains is probably
probably.
still not the best, too good for horses. The one that we do know about.
Yeah, so it's definitely a point for foothills. It's more treacherous terrain for horses. Another reason why it's kind of convenient that my horse got dispelled.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, very good. Very good, very good. So you want to have like another encounter before we call it?
Do we want to tempt fate?
I guess it's up to you, Arctic.
I'd rather it be up to you. Like I'm hearing, I know that you're yawning, but I also know that that you're probably keen. Let's probably not put it to a vote. Are we able to make a unanimous decision?
I mean, one more encounter doesn't sound too bad. I'm not too committed to it.
I'm good for it.
Very good.
All right then, very well.
Cool. Carrick, it can be your responsibility then. You can roll the D100.
It's on your shoulders if we TPK.
Precisely.
17.
17.
The unluckiest number.
That's 13.
No.
Okay. Flightless. These are something that you might recognize. Everyone can make a nature check, but Flightless will have advantage.
Huh.
I don't like that.
No.
At 12.
12's not bad. And yeah, not great. Or 12 or 12. So Eleanor, you see what is an unusual sight. Okay, so let's set the scene. The Desert Mouth Mountains are extremely steep. Even the foothills are relatively sheer, both on the Dagger Hill side and on the Anarok side. It's more or less flat country until, boom, suddenly it's mountains. They just rise up out of nowhere. They were probably, magical in nature when they were created, or maybe it was just some strange phenomenon. But whatever the case, like, they are really tall and really steep, or unnaturally so in some ways. So how the hell did a herd of cows get so far up a sheer cliff?
Ghost Road.
It's Roth, that's right, and specifically Ghost Roth. Roth are an underdark buffalo, bison, something like that, probably closest to a bison, but they're an underdark herd animal. And they're as agile as goats, mountain goats, but they can jump a hell of a lot higher. So there is a ghost Roth herd in our way. They could be excellent, even a single Roth is going to be enough food to last 3 people for a long time. But they're very smart. They're a lot smarter than the average bovine. and as defensive as bison and buffaloes are. So they can be quite dangerous. What would you like to do?
So it could indicate drow nearby? Because they're not like exclusive to drow, but like since it's an Underdark specialty, like that would be, I guess, fair to assume.
Yeah, it's not exactly. It's as possible as not.
But I guess that's good enough for Flightless. Like, and even the thought of drow, like he can't stop like shiver if you're not like.
There have been a lot of drow on the surface lately.
Uh,
Do you want to try taking one out?
are we in dire need of food?
Probably.
Can I
Well,
can I look like inspect the oath, see if they have any like marks on them that like indicate ownership? You know, like a brand or anything like that?
No brands that you can see. Maybe make a perception check.
23.
Sounds good. 23 is perfect. No, they appear to be completely wild. Completely wild. But with your 23, you will notice that the females, the cows, are herding the young into the mountain. Now, I'll probably describe the terrain a little bit better. We're on the edge of the mountain, and we are kind of like mountain goats ourselves, trying to wind up natural paths that are really unsafe. We can't go forward because there's Roth in the way. We can't go sideways because there's a cliff on one side and a mountain on the other. We can only go back. But the Roth are disappearing. Vanish, vanish, vanish. And what goes from being like a herd of 20 or 25 is suddenly a herd of only 15 or so as the smaller ones just seem to disappear. Like, not they don't vanish from sight, but rather they move forward and then don't come out again. Imagine like a jagged line, up and down, up and down. They go down, and then they should be forced back up again, but they don't. They just don't come out again. It's like a clown car, you know. They're just all piling into the same small area and vanishing.
Might be a cave up there. Just to the Underdark.
Suppose it would make sense. Well, seeing as they appear to be on their way as it is, if we wait a little longer, they might clear our path.
This is probably a bad time to tell you guys this, but kind of scared of heights, you know?
Well, I suppose there's no turning back now.
Hey.
We'll see if we can cover the rest of the distance without gaining any more altitude.
I guess we're gonna wait for them to go in and then follow up with them.
Yep.
Are we going to try to stealth so that we don't spook them?
It makes sense to me.
Yeah, we can try to. Emphasis on try when it comes to me. That's not too bad, considering.
All right. Yeah, so the stealth is pretty decent, but Roth are cautious and timid creatures, and they all just keep disappearing. The trouble is, however, that Roth are really agile. They're suited to terrain just like this, even though they're from the Underdark, and we are not. We're going to need some athletics or acrobatics checks to scale these jagged cliffs. So go ahead and make some athletics or acrobatics checks.
What kind of drop am I looking at if we fail?
Well, I suppose it depends how badly you fail.
Sounds like a don't fail to me.
Yeah, it could be pretty bad, like, because you might only fall 20, 30 feet, or you might fall 130 as you slip and slip and slip and slip and slip.
I see.
Yeah, like that. It's like the Grand Canyon, you know? Like, you might only fall a little way, or you might fall all the way.
Is it just this particular part that requires climbing?
It's a bit of a general check, more like we need yeah, that's right, acrobatics. We need a check now, but this is in a way it's a simulation for for a much larger area. Yeah.
All right, here we go with disadvantage because I'm exhausted. Oh, wait, no, we did rest, didn't we?
We did.
Thank God. That's what I was worried about. I forgot about that. Ooh, 10.
10 will be enough. 10 will be enough. You scramble up, and I think it was Chaka's instincts turn out to be right. It is a cave, and it does lead into the Underdark. So the Roth are gone by the time we get there. You might see their eyes blinking in within the cave, and you might hear their trotting footprints as their cloven hooves make their way through some Underdark passage. But hey, we can turn this into an Underdark campaign now. What a great idea.
Yeah, let's go. We lost the drow, so now we can do it.
In we go.
In we go.
So what was that? I cut out for a second.
We found an entrance to the Underdark.
Want to go back home?
Back home.
He'll look conflicted but then shake his head. The conflict's like he wants to see his friends and he misses them, but like drow.
Drow is a pretty good reason not to go back.
So he's sort of like they're his friends, but at the same time he sort of has to write them off because like he's an escaped slave. Like there's no way he'll ever free them.
Well, maybe one day.
Yeah, we got your back. I'll give a big old slap.
Make a dexterity saving throw as you nearly. No.
300 meters and dies.
Oh shit! I
Perfect.
guess that's the reason he was called flightless.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll continue scrabbling across these sheer rocks and cliffs on our way to the mines.
No worries. Okay. Then, Eleanor, you can roll a D100 as well. Left 5.
Even lower than me.
Oh no, this normally wouldn't be bad, but right now it is.
Earthquake.
It's close. There's really strong winds, strong headwinds. Right? Make a strength saving throw.
Oh.
Oh! Oh! No!
Yeah, I'll use my inspiration as well.
Is 11 enough, or am I going to have to read
11 does the trick. Flightless.
Literally one better.
You've never been so upset to be flightless. This is the worst moment to be flightless in your life.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Crash. Flightless has fallen. Chaka, you don't have a saving throw, or
I rolled.
You're taking the 8. You're taking the 8. No worries. Flightless, you crash.
5, so yeah.
Oh, you rerolled the 5. Right. Oh, right. I thought that was Eleanor's roll. So, Eleanor, you're the only one left up on the cliff as Flightless falls off. Chaka instinctively reaches out to grab him, falls off as well, and they both tumble, crash. You suffer some injuries. They're not actually that bad. just 3d6 damage each. You both, well, I guess it's pretty
Not
bad.
too bad. Maxed.
I guess it's pretty bad. You both take 18 points of damage, but more importantly, you suffer a level of exhaustion representing twisted ankles and dislocated shoulders and hurt egos and so on. Yeah. So you don't slip right off the edge of the cliff, but rather tumble and break. And now the party is separated on two levels. You're 30 feet apart, separated by a relatively sheer cliff, following completely different goat tracks now that don't link up. Or at least don't link up in any way that we can see. What do we want to do?
Is there anything I can tether a rope to here?
Yeah, potentially, but yeah, potentially. You might like rocks and trees, little stunty trees, and that's about it. And either of those might either get ripped out by the roots or just be too loose. There's nothing good, but there are things that may be adequate.
Probably the most trivial use of this power ever. But I'm gonna activate my ASMR transformation to gain my spectral wings.
Yeah.
And have a fly speed for 1 minute. So I'll fly down 30 feet.
Yep, so you will come and join the party?
Yeah.
Excellent. So you get down onto their level. And we're now on the side of a mountain, looking down at the desert winds below us, with the mountains on our one side, following the very lip of an edge. It's like those. You might have seen photos of people going to school through, the mountains of the Himalayas. Like and they walk along 8-inch wide gaps that as they try to like extreme footpaths. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I've seen what you mean.
Yeah, I might try to find a picture at some stage to represent it, but that's basically it. We're flat up against the mountain. Have you seen The Witcher, where they're going to the dragon's lair in The Witcher, and they're walking along the edge of... Anyway, maybe you get the idea.
Like the scene in The Hobbit where, the two giants are punching each other, but where the dwarves are walking along the side of the cliff.
That would be right. I can't think of the scene, but that does sound like exactly the right. Yeah, right. The right sort of imagery. So there we are. This is not the sort of place that we can camp. You couldn't possibly sleep here, and indeed, at any moment, another gust of wind might cause us to go tumbling back down. So there's two things that we can do here. We can either take it really, really slowly and potentially expose ourselves to whatever hazards that might be, such as wyverns picking us up off our vulnerable spot, or we can go at a more hasty pace and risk the disaster that might entail.
I'd say slow pace.
Yeah, slow.
Yeah, slow sounds good.
Sounds like we've got a decision. Good. I found a decent picture. I'll share it in Discord. And to the one or two people who watch this in the future, I'm afraid that you're just going to have to join the Discord and then go through the old files. So yeah, there you can see the guy walking along the edge of a very narrow ledge, trying to press himself as close up to the mountain as he possibly can. All right.
All right.
All right, very good. Okay, and now a final roll, a final encounter, as Chakra can make a D100 check, and don't roll a wyvern. 36.
Fuck, a wyvern.
36 wyverns. God damn it.
Yeah.
36 wyverns. All right. You're walking along 36 wyverns. Or is it a 3'6" wyvern? It's kind of cute.
36-foot long wyvern.
think that'd be called a dragon.
I guess so. You're walking along this edge of the cliff, and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, right? You got the expanse of the desert in front of you, the insurmountable ridges of the mountain beside you, and then you hear the bleating of goats, or of sheep, or of lambs.
Look behind us.
Nothing behind you and nothing in front of you. Sounds like the sound is coming from above you.
Oh no.
God.
Look up.
A few small rocks fall up overhead. Oh wait, they're not rocks. They're, you know what goat pellets are?
Oh no.
You got shat on by a ruminant.
Unfortunate. D6 psychic damage.
Yeah, D6 humiliation damage.
Okay.
Guys, we're just having the worst day. Can we just go back home?
It does make you wonder why we're doing this.
All right. One of the sheep leans over the edge of the cliff and looks down at you, and it bleats, blah, and nearly falls over itself as it runs away. And you hear someone calling out to, "Ooh, what you seeing there, Daisy?" In the common tongue.
Hello up there.
Hello? What? Oh, I'm hearing things. Must be the ghosts of the long dead. Oh, better get away before the haunting continues.
Ooh.
Hey, lol, do you mind introducing yourself?
Who are you? And where are you? He's looking out to, you can't see him, but he's looking out into the desert going like, what the fuck? Like, am I hearing things?
We're down here at the next trail down.
Oh, wait, and he leans over the edge. Gee, where the hell did you all come from? He looks both directions. And what the hell are you doing here?
Oh, just hiking. Join the view.
Well, I guess I'll leave you to it then.
Very well, good luck with your goat herding.
Oh, well, do you need a hand?
Is there more room up there?
Oh, yes, we do a bit of grazing up here.
Oh, is there anything up there to tether a rope to?
Oh, yes, sure. How big's your rope?
About 50 feet.
Well, that's going to be big enough. See if you can haul it up here. I don't have one myself. Guess you're only going to have one chance, so don't mess it up.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
What sort of check would you like to make? Athletics, maybe?
My athletics and my attack roll are the same, so I'll just go for athletics. Well,
12. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's only a... Okay, so you can make you throw your rope up, and now make a dexterity or strength saving throw, your choice, so you don't lose your footing in the process.
Yeah, I'm good. Rock solid.
Rock solid. All right. Okay. Now let's see. The rabbit goes in through the hole and out through the. No. That's not right. The rabbit goes round the tree and into the. Oh, I I think it's secure.
It's like we go up and it's like a perfect noose around like a tree.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sorry, I only know how to lynch the darkies. Dark elves.
Well,
Dark elves.
I'll give the rope a very firm tug. Make sure it can take our weight. I'm probably the heaviest among us, so I'll volunteer to go first.
Go right ahead.
And I'll try to climb up.
All right. DC is only 5. Everybody make their athletics or acrobatics checks. You could. You
yep.
could.
No.
What are you going to do, Flightless, in this circumstance? Like, so imagine, Eleanor's made it up. You go next, and you get halfway, and you lose your grip.
I assume fail to fly.
Fail to fly? Are you just going to start tumbling down the cliff?
Oh,
Do you have any sort of...
advantage anyway?
Oh, do you? You
Oh,
do,
yeah.
Toad.
Still 4.
Yeah, so I guess it's still 4. All
I
right.
don't have any way to like avoid falling.
Another 10 points of damage and another level of exhaustion as you're now down another 30 feet below them and therefore out of reach of the rope.
Cries. Cries with disadvantage.
You okay, Flightless?
Just from like his fetal position, he just gives you like a thumbs up.
There's a broken mass of feathers and legs in the wrong direction.
I mean, considering like he almost died from being thrown off a cliff by the people he thought he could maybe trust. Like, this is probably more traumatic than just falling off a cliff.
Let's see, do I make it up? Oh yeah.
Now, how do we get Flightless up?
I guess his
You
handler's
okay
named
down
him well.
there?
He's not good with heights.
Do you have more rope, Parker?
Yeah, I have a thing of rope.
We can pull the length of rope up and knot some more on it and throw it down, and hopefully he doesn't lose his grip again. Otherwise, I'm not sure what else we can do.
All right, mate. All right.
How mangled is the poor bird looking?
Pretty mangled. Like, if he falls like that again, he might not survive.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I'm gonna go ahead and climb down to you first, so I can administer some aid before we try again.
I was just going to like loop it and have you just drag him up.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I could try that. So myself, Chaka, and the friendly man can all try to pull up the bird.
All right. No worries. And between the lot of you, you're able to get him up there. And he looks bad, right? But you find a shepherd. He's in the middle of shearing his sheep. He's trimmed most of their wools, and he's loaded it up all into a wagon. How the hell he gets the wagon out of here? At this point, you can only guess. And then he says, "Wait a minute. I think I've seen some of you all before. You ever been to Daggerdale? Dagger Falls?"
I can't say
Yeah.
I have.
We have been there, haven't we?
I don't think
Some
Chaka.
of us have. Yeah, some of us have.
So I guess simultaneously Chaka says no as I say yes.
Well, I thought I recognized you. Yes, I thought I recognized you.
Wait, is this like... No, that was chickens. Like, I was just gonna say, maybe is this like the farmer we saved from the basilisk? He had chickens, not sheep.
True.
I think it's just some random townie.
Yes, we have been in Dagger Falls before.
Oh,
Well,
Well-
at least, myself and Flightless here have, and I'll pat Flightless on the shoulder.
thought I recognized you. They're good people from what you're good people from what I hear. I've heard that you've been helping out. Say, I'm heading to Dagger Falls myself pretty soon once I get the shearing done. Perhaps you'd like to come along with me.
We have business elsewhere, unfortunately.
Unfortunate to hear that then. I'm very sad about that. Well, make yourselves at home, such as it is. If if there's any way that I can help, then I'd be happy to do so. It's kind of lucky that you caught me here. I must admit that I was pretty surprised.
We're surprised to see someone up here as well.
Yeah. Do you mind if we set up a small campsite here? Stay here for the night?
Yeah, please, I'd be my guests.
All right, sounds good. Also,
Perfect.
between with healing hands, lay on hands rather. Yeah, between lay on hands and healing hands, I'll administer 20 hit points each to Chaka and Lightless.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, not 20 each. The total pool is 30. 15 each, not 20.
Oh, okay.
All right. And so one night's rest will get rid of one level of exhaustion, but not the second. He keeps trimming his wool. You don't need any wool, perchance, do you?
I don't think so, but I think. But
Not
Flightless
like
will
that.
like over the night, will still insist on taking some form of watch.
Yeah, good idea.
I mean, his passive's still 19, so it's still pretty good, even with disadvantage.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you get a good night's rest up here in the chill of the mountains. Plenty of wool to keep you warm. The guy is pretty jovial. He doesn't have much in the way to offer you beyond what the assistance that he's already given you. But you regale him with your tales of your adventures, and he seems to love them. He can't wait to get back to Dagger Falls and tell everyone that you're doing okay.
Seem half the party's doing okay. Like it's crying Kenku in the corner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably shaking, not quite crying.
Although we are missing a certain tiefling and dark elf.
And robot and
Well, I imagine they are here, just sort of T-posing.
No, we put them in their Pokeballs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Balls of holding.
They're all like chilling in the bag of holding.
Yep. Oh well. You gotta call it there for the night.
I think we shall.
Yeah, sounds good.
Farewell, internet.
Yep.
Farewell to the internet.